I just became eligible for Medicare, so I called to find a plan that fits my budget.
Don't waste time. Call the Benefits Network to speak to a licensed insurance agent about Medicare Advantage plans and compare rates from national carriers. One call to compare options from multiple carriers.
For free no-obligation consultation, call 800-819-1582.
Is your shower trying to tell you something? Is getting in and out of the bathtub becoming a safety concern? Are you worried about the cost of a bathroom remodel that could go on for weeks and weeks? Well, now you can have a gorgeous new bath or shower with a one-day jacuzzi bath remodel that's safer at a price you can afford.
It's incredible that they were able to do this in one day.
Oh my gosh. It is beautiful. Oh, you have to see it. It was amazing how they fixed that bathroom in a day. You know what I like also? It's easy to clean.
Jacuzzi has been making water feel great for more than 70 years, so you know it's a brand you can trust, and their products come with a lifetime warranty for a style you'll love for years to come.
I've had a great experience from start to finish. I wish I would have done this 5 years ago.
There has never been a better time to buy. We're waiving all installation costs and postponing all payments for up to 1 year. There are so many designs to choose from, including my Christina Preferred collection. Plus, we offer free personalized in-home design services to build the bath you've always wanted, right in your own space. And let's talk about accessories. From soft close shower doors and adjustable shower heads to features like grab bars and custom seats that combine safety and style to keep you feeling comfortable and independent for years to come. Plus, cleanup's a breeze with no grimy grout and no scrubbing. It just rinses clean. It's never been easier. Get your free design consultation, schedule your one-day installation, and start loving your new bath or shower right away.
Call or go online to jacuzzibathremodel.com. For a limited time, we are waiving installation costs on your new bath or shower, plus we're postponing payments for 1 full year. Go to jacuzzibathremodel.com or call 800-384-4526. That's 800-384-4526. Call now.
In this last segment, I want to talk about my childhood trauma.
Oh, we're going to be a while.
With cold drinks and Slurpees. My first brain freeze, I'm like, oh, I'm too young to lose my mind. It's crazy.
You're crazy.
Totally. Well, that does it for us today on First Edition. We're taking a live look at Greenbelt, Maryland, where Kilmar Abrego Garcia is heading into a hearing at the United States District Court. The Trump
Find answers to life's biggest questions with pastor and author Bayless Conley, Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday on the Dove TV.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Friday. Welcome to Mornings on the Dove, where anything goes because Jerry is here.
Good morning.
And it usually happens that way.
Yeah. And it's certainly not planned.
Nope.
No.
This show is unrehearsed.
Very spontaneous.
It's live and raw.
And we apologize in advance.
In advance. If you're offended, watch the other guy.
Oh, no. All right.
Anyway, good morning to you. Happy Friday. A lot going on in the news. I don't know when there is. I tell you what, this morning is a beautiful morning.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of the fires, not completely out, but at least knocked down quite a bit. Did a little walk around the tarmac this morning, and beautiful.
Inventory going down?
Oh, yeah. We went from, looking like we were a training zone for air tankers.
I know.
I think we're down, let's see, there was 2, 3.
Okay.
No, yeah, 3, including one DC-10.
You had mentioned the inventory yesterday morning, and and then I saw a number of pictures posted on Facebook. It impressed a whole bunch of people.
It was impressive, and boy, I don't know who's calling the shots. I really don't know, but when you go online like Watch Duty and you're watching these fires and you're tracking them, you got to remember, as much as I'm watching the airplane, you got ground crews. And they're working hard. And last night, just south here, there were 4 helicopters working all evening.
Oh, really?
And so you got ground crew for helicopters, you got fuel, you got water, you got ground crews fighting the fires, and then you got these big things coming in over the top. It's a whole attitude change in how they're addressing the fires, and boy, they're on it. And I want to say thank you, all of you, for working it out.
You know, is this change apparent in written policy? Did they make an active change? Is this something
I don't know,
aware of?
Because I think it has a lot to do where the fire is. Is it state property, private property, or federal property?
Oh, okay.
So I'm not sure how all that works out, but it seems to me that they have figured out a way to collaborate.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminds me what happened at Alameda fire down the road here when we had those horrible fires that took out Phoenix and Talent. At the end of the day, all of these agencies came together under the direction of great leadership with the city council and the mayor down there of Phoenix, and boom, the city came back.
Yeah.
It shows that it can be done.
Yeah.
And we can do it and get along and like each other, which is kind of fun. What a thought.
Yes.
Happy Friday to you. What's going on?
Well, it is Collector Car Appreciation Day.
Okay.
And, you know, we see some of the... Yeah. Is it true that most, you know, older cars, the car collectors, the ones that are really in good shape, are all driven by old guys?
Yeah, I think so.
It's mostly, isn't it?
Have you ever gone to one of these car shows out on the lawn?
Yeah.
A bunch of old guys standing around them?
And I look, too, because you'll see a string of them going to an event, you know, a whole bunch of these beautiful cars.
Yeah.
And it's all guys, you know, old guys, gray-haired guys like me, you know, driving these cars.
Yeah, it is. Unless you are a serious car collector.
Yeah.
And that is like big business, big business. You know?
All right. Now, this brings up another question. So I would imagine that a lot of these guys are guys of my generation, and we sometimes are drawn towards a particular car or a make of car that we really liked when we were younger.
Yeah.
So I'm sure a lot of guys do that. If you were going to get a classic, if you were going to restore it, what would you do?
That's a great question. I have a tendency to go towards British cars.
Yeah.
Okay, and I like the MGs.
MG's great. Yeah.
Okay, so I really like them. I'd like to have an MGA.
Oh yeah, those are cool.
Yeah. So I'm kind of drawn to those. Now that's just me. People are drawn to Mustangs. People are drawn. Steve is drawn to what is hot rod El Camino.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
People like Corvettes,
Mustangs,
all that stuff. You know what? Whatever, you know.
Whatever floats your boat.
Whatever makes your gray beard shine.
Yeah. You mentioned the MG. I have an uncle, 1968, bought a brand new MGB.
Oh, okay.
It was beautiful. It was red. It
What
was
year?
so nice. 68.
Okay.
And in that car, you didn't have to turn the radio on. You didn't have to turn the ignition on to engage the radio. He would have the key out, but the radio was, you could just turn it on.
Yeah.
I don't know why it was direct. So I was a kid, you know, and
you
I
left it
loved
on?
that car. No, I would go out in that car, and I would pretend like I was driving. I'd go through. I hope I didn't mess up his transmission, because I'd be going floor on the floor, and I'd turn on the radio. It was 68. The big hit that summer was Herb Alpert, T1 Brass, This Guy. And I'd be listening to this guy. This guy.
Are you having a nostalgic moment?
I am.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you hit it with the MG.
There you go.
Yeah, anyway, so it's car appreciation, car collector appreciation day. It's also, well, it depends on which corner you are in. Some people call this National Slurpee Day. Some people call it National 7-Eleven Day. Whichever you call it, you can get a free Slurpee at 7-Eleven today.
Really?
No purchase necessary.
Are there
small Slurpees?
Are they
It's
still
Slurpee
there?
Day. Yeah.
Okay.
So go get yourself a Slurpee.
Yeah, there's one. I know where there's one now. Yeah, they're still out there.
Yep. So, and it is Slurpee Day, so go get one. All-American Pet Photo Day. I think we all have great pictures of our pets.
Now, why didn't I know this?
I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to send this to
Send
Alice.
it to Alice. In the next hour, we'll get it.
All right.
But, you know, how can you resist taking a picture of your cute pet, especially in one of those cute poses that they sometimes do? Well, unintentionally. They just lay down and do stuff.
I know.
It's a great thing. So we'll look at your All-American
I'll
pet
get
photo.
it here in a minute.
All right. National French Fry Day.
Oh, really?
Also known as chips, fries, finger chips, or French fried potatoes. They are batons of deep fried potatoes, and no matter what we call them, they're common fixtures at fast food. Do you have a favorite fast food French fry?
Well, that's a good question. I have to say the one that French fries only, right?
French fries only.
I have to say I think McDonald's still has it.
Ding, 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 ding. I think you're right. As much as I love In-N-Out, and the In-N-Out whole thing at In-N-Out just gets me, but If I could take a McDonald's fries with that.
Oh, so what is it about the McDonald's?
You know what I read, and I don't know if this is true because I read it on the internet. And you know everything on the internet's
the interweb.
The interweb, that's right. But it was an ex-employee that said one of the reasons that the fries are so good is they put a little bit of beef flavoring in the grease when they fry the fries.
Oh.
So I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what I read on the internet. Also, it is National Rainier Cherry Day. Now, the Rainier cherry, this is recognized as a variety named after Mount Rainier. In 1952, Harry Fogel of Washington State University developed the Rainier cherry by crossbreeding the Bing and the Van cherry varieties. I don't know what a Van cherry is, but I saw pictures of this one, the Rainier cherry. It's got a little bit more yellow in it. It's not that deep purpley red that the Bing cherry has, so I'm not familiar with it, but enjoy. National Blueberry Muffin Day. We all can enjoy blueberry muffins, and it is that time of day right now. Get up, celebrate this morning. Right. Americans love their blueberry muffins.
Yep.
It's the #1 favorite muffin flavor of all.
Really?
Blueberry muffins.
Have you noticed how they changed the muffins you buy at Costco now?
Why? Well, how did they change it? I don't know. No.
Well, they would have like packages of 6.
Okay.
And then you would buy 2 packages if you wanted to, Now they have packages of 8, and they're smaller.
Oh, yeah, because the muffins were big. Yeah.
So I think, and really, it's a better deal. But I mean, you can handle it better.
So now you can eat a whole muffin instead of cut it in half, because we cut a lot
not feel bad about it.
Right. Okay. All right. So enjoy whatever you're going to eat. And one last thing here. Yeah. Did you realize, and I didn't realize it, I was reading about this last night, it's fascinating, and I like early automotive history, and especially on Collector Appreciation Day. Did you know that the first Ford automobile was actually more of a Dodge? That's because the Dodge Brothers Company built every part of the earliest Ford car except the seats and the tires. They partnered in building the cars and received $10,000 in dividends the first year because they had trouble floating them some cash, so they gave them dividends.
Really?
Yeah, and however, in 1913, they informed Henry Ford they would stop working for him, and they started their own automobile company, and the rest, as they say, is history. So the first Ford was a Dodge.
A Fodge.
Go figure that out. Yeah.
It was a Fodge.
That's right. So anyway, and of course, Dodge continues on.
There you go.
Especially for those who drive that Dodge Ram truck.
All right.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, 9 minutes past the hour. Speaking of Bing.
A look at today's weather from Grange Co-op. With building high pressure into the weekend, temperatures will rise. So today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny skies with highs in the mid-upper 80s for Vancouver and Portland and low 90s for Wilsonville and McMinnville. Continuing down the Willamette Valley, sunny with daytime high temperatures in the upper 80s to low 90s for Salem, Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene, with a north wind 5 to 10 miles per hour gusting up to 21. More sunshine across central Oregon with daytime highs in the mid to upper 80s for Prineville, Bend, and Sun River with a light northeast wind. Over in Boise, Idaho, sunny, hot, and breezy with a high in the low to mid 90s. Along the Oregon coast, sunny to mostly sunny and breezy with daytime high temperatures near 70 in Coos Bay and mid to upper 60s for Port Orford, Brookings, and Crescent City with gusts up to 34 miles per hour. In southern Oregon, sunny and hot for the Rogue Valley with daytime highs in the low to mid-90s for Grants Pass, Medford, and Ashland with a light and variable wind. In the Klamath Basin, sunny with highs in the mid-90s. Into northern California, sunny with a high in the mid-90s in Wairika. Moving south, sunny with heat advisories and daytime highs near 109 in Redding, 105 in Chico, and near 102 in Sacramento with a light southwest wind. In the Bay Area, sunny and warm with a high near 90 in Santa Rosa and near 87 in Napa. Becoming sunny in San Francisco with a high near 70 and a southwest wind 5 to 11 miles per hour. And today in San Jose, sunny and low 90s. A snapshot of your Friday weather from Grange Co-op.
All right, good morning to you. Picture of our southern Oregon Valley there this morning in the shadow of the mountain. And, there's a little bit of a heat haze out there, a little bit of still smoke in the air, but a whole lot nicer than it's been.
Yeah.
So pretty nice out there.
So let me ask you this. What's the first thing you think about when you wake up in the morning?
Oh.
This can be rhetorical.
Okay, is it?
Yeah, it can be, because for
when
me...
I first wake up.
For me, depends on how I wake up.
So you're wanting to know if you hear the percolating?
Yeah, is it the percolator, is it the alarm, or did my eyes just open? Because my thought process is significantly different under each circumstance.
Yeah. I just wonder if there's a dog bone underneath. When I step out, I step on a dog bone. And I scream.
That's perfect. Well, with that in mind, here's some encouragement with Pastor Jack Graham.
Renew your faith daily. I believe there is a success habit in the lives of every dynamic believer that I've ever known. And that is this: give the first moments and minutes of your day to God. How you begin your day sets the mindset of your day and often the direction of your day. The days that I don't begin it with God tend to be sort of mindless and directionless. But if I will take the time to regularly bathe my soul in the presence of God, if I will open God's Word, if I will speak to Him, ask and pray. Listen to a couple of these scriptures. Psalm 5:3. In the morning, O Lord, you hear my voice. In the morning, I lay requests before you and wait in expectation. Psalm 90:14. This is a prayer of Moses. Would you like to know what Moses prayed and how Moses was so great in his life? Satisfy us in the morning with your unfailing love, that we may sing for joy and be glad all our days. This is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Again, make your first appointment of your day an appointment with God.
All right.
Well, boy, that is so true, even if it means getting up earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, do that. Thank you, Jack. All right, good morning to you. Let's take a look at some of the top stories this morning. This is an interesting one, and I didn't know that this was brewing behind the scenes, but the judge ruled that Don Lemon, former ex-CNN guy, can go after Elon Musk.
Yeah, and what's the ground?
Well, apparently, Lemon first filed a lawsuit against Musk this past August, alleging that the ex-owner breached their contract and failed to pay him after canceling the journalist's show and partnership with the platform.
Oh, okay. So they're doing a business deal together.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so
it's not something Elon Musk said about him.
Yeah.
This isn't defamation or anything. This is a broken business deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's interesting about this is this will get settled.
Okay. Oh yeah.
This won't go anywhere.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah, Elon will just throw them millions. They go away.
Right, and Don will take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is really interesting. As you know, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is in town, if I can say that, and he's met with the president. We still don't know all the outcome of the meeting, the secret part of the meetings.
Yeah.
But he said this about the president.
We've never had such a friend, such a supporter of Israel, the Jewish state, in the White House. President Trump has been, what can I tell you, tremendous. I mean, and the cooperation is tremendous. Look at what our cooperation produces. Look at what happens when there's no daylight between an American president and an Israeli prime minister. We roll back the greatest threat to to both our countries. Iran is trying to build nuclear weapons. We stopped it in the nick of time. Those nuclear weapons were to be equipped on ballistic missiles that certainly wreak havoc in Israel now without nuclear weapons, but they're aimed to be intercontinental ballistic missiles that could reach this city, this house, and New York, and Philadelphia, and Miami, and Mar-a-Lago. They actually put a price on President Trump's head and mine. Did you see this? This is what happened in the last 2 days. And issued a religious fatwa, a decree that says that we have to be assassinated. These are enemies of the United States. Iran says death to America, death to Israel. America is the great Satan, Israel is the small Satan, but we stand in their way. They want to develop the means of mass death, atomic bombs, and the means to deliver them to every theater near you. That's what they're trying to do. And we stopped them. We rolled back this grave menace to our survival by a regime that has these monstrous proxies like Hamas and Hezbollah, whom we beat too.
And the Houthis.
And the Houthis, we haven't finished. We've got a job to do. But I can tell you that America started something. We'll finish it.
Wow. Wow.
Oh.
Yeah. Interesting.
Okay, so the greatest friend that Israel's ever had in the White House.
Yeah. Yeah, and I got to tell you the truth. I remember reading articles about when Obama was in the White House and the contentiousness in that relationship and some of the things that Obama was reportedly saying about Netanyahu. I can't believe they got anything done together.
Well, and he would come in and out of the White House literally through the
back door. Yeah. So what a difference.
It was disgraceful.
Yeah.
All right. Well, back to the Texas flooding. More and more stories coming out on this, and it is absolutely amazing. Over 120 people now have lost their lives, and listen to this: 170 people are still missing.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that's coming out of this is somehow it just shows how God works in mysterious ways. We're seeing all types of faith, cross-denominational, laying everything down and working together to serve the people along that river. You've got all branches of various evangelicalism.
Okay.
Some ecumenical churches. They're all working together.
Wow.
It kind of reminds me of what happened here with the Alameda fire, how the churches got together and the nonprofit organizations got together and say, we'll do water, we'll do food, we'll do blankets, we'll do this. Well, that's what's happening down there. And the church community, the faith community has really kicked in.
All right.
And this is absolutely amazing. Samaritan's Purse is on the scene. But there are a lot of people still missing, 170 people missing.
Yeah.
Now, the cleanup is horrific. This was such a tragic so fast that we really don't have any video of it happening, but we have a lot of video after it happened. And so this is an amazing, but you know what, folks, this is what it's all about.
Yeah.
We can have our non-essential differences, but the essentials of faith come together in something like this, and this is absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, and this is the right side to be looking on here in these relief efforts rather than attention on some of the comments that are coming out from those who want to politicize this, which is just disgraceful.
It's disgraceful,
Yeah.
it's disrespectful, it is just downright ugly. And but I just want to say to all of us, this is the way it should work. We've seen it in our own backyard. Now we're seeing it on a larger scale here. Well, I say larger, equal disaster. And this is the way. This is what it's about. This is what it's about. I just want to say to those people down there that, and they're working day and night. The volunteers are everywhere, and then they have to go through where the flood goes through. You've got to remember, this flood took out 50 miles.
Yeah.
They have to go through the layers. They have to get the trees off, then they have to get the mountains off and the rocks off, and below that are cars and RVs. I mean, it's an amazing thing. So I just wanted to say, when our back is against the wall, we know what to do.
Yeah.
And God bless those guys. Good stuff all the way around. Is he or is he not? Will he not? And I'm not talking about Jerry getting up tomorrow morning. We'll answer that when we come back.
Hunger for more of your mercy, your goodness, Lord, you're the air that I breathe.
Combining your home and auto insurance could save you time and money. And who doesn't like that? Want surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life? Now's the time to call State Farm agent Rory Wold in Medford.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Finding that next great series to binge watch is fun, but your neck, shoulders, and body don't count that as me time. Hi, I'm Tamara Miller, owner of Organic Element Spa, and I invite you to put down the remote, get off the couch, and schedule yourself some real me or we time with your favorite service, like one of our many massages, couples massages, or facials. Your health, safety, and comfort are always top priority with us at Organic Element Spa. We can't wait to see you. Book your appointment today.
Grange Co-op, where big ideas grow.
I'm supposed to be okay. I went to war, I fought, I'm home, I'm a man, I'm tough, I'm strong, I'm good. I'm gonna bootstrap it, and I'm gonna push my way through this pain. I got on my knees. For the first time, I fully admitted all of the things I had done. I just laid it all down. When I left that room, I knew something was different.
Friday on the 700 Club, right here on the Dove TV.
Welcome back, 22 minutes past the hour. Well, there was a little bit of an interesting thing that went through our legislature, and that was Oregon was one of the few states left that didn't give the governor the right to appoint a U.S. senator if that seat became vacant.
Right.
Okay, well, apparently that we solved that problem.
Okay.
Because most states, the governor can appoint.
Right.
If that seat becomes, vacant for whatever reason, retirement, quit, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And when that came out, I thought, well, is that an announcement that Ron Wyden or Jeff Merkley were going to, Senator Ron Wyden, Senator Merkley, were going to, throw in their hat, and that way Governor Kotek could nominate somebody,
right,
and that person would become an incumbent.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know. However, U.S. Senator Jeff Merkley from the great state of Oregon decided that he is going to run for re-election. And his reason for it?
What?
Listen.
Well, I wanted to be very thoughtful about this question of running for a fourth term. And if you had asked me a few months ago, and if I had confided in you, which I kept my thoughts to myself, just Mary and I, as we wrestled with it, said we were leaning towards not running. But the magnitude of the darkness and danger that Trump is presenting, so dark and so dangerous that I am calling on everyone to be off the couch, to hold their electeds accountable, and to do so fiercely.
So what he is saying here is he's running for re-election because of the darkness that President Trump has brought to the country. Okay, well, this is the selling of fear. They're very good at this. But it also tells me something.
What?
He said, I wasn't going to do it.
Uh-huh.
But now I am.
Right. Yeah, the problem is so huge that you can't afford for me to step away from this job.
Yeah.
Because I have to be one of the arbiters to keep this thing on the rails.
I'm a fighter.
I'm a fighter, right. And we have someone we need to fight, right.
Well, Senator Cory Booker, he did that all-night talkathon.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He's going to run for president. I'm pretty much sure, because now he is saying, I don't care if President Trump throws me in jail, I'm going to fight. Well, that's all re-election stuff.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So Senator Merkley, I think, is rerunning because, well, maybe what he's saying is what's in his heart. I don't know. But it also tells me, if he thought he thought he wouldn't, but now he would, it tells me he hasn't got both feet in the game.
Yeah.
So it tells me that it's possible he gets reelected and then does
the thing that you mentioned before.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So look, politics is about as slippery as it gets.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? Let's institute our own term limits.
Yeah.
A fourth term? Nah, I don't think so.
We got to be careful because they could do it on a morning show host and you and I'd be toast.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, listen, in our own backyard, they were flying last night. A lot of airplanes flying around. And the one that is getting the most of the attention, well, there's two of them. There's the Butler Fire, and it's now up to 3,600 acres. That's just down in Northern California. And Peggy and I were sitting outside last night, and look, and boom, this big puff of smoke pops up, and it's called the Jimmy Peak Fire that broke out last night. And boy, they were on it with airplanes and helicopters and everything else. But the big one now is the Butler Fire. And all these other fires, if you go to Watch Duty, you look, they have ground crews, and they seem to be gaining, building lines around the fire, and they're slowly getting them. But the big one is the Butler Fire. And so there are evacuations. There are evacuations ordered, what they call go now, be ready, those types of orders. And a little bit of a picture there. But if you look at this, look what they're fighting. Look at the terrain they have to fight this stuff in. So anyway, we're not out of the woods here, folks. This is serious stuff, and it's really sad to watch too. So that's what's happening.
Yeah, but I'm glad they're on it. I'm glad they have this new attitude.
Okay, let's take a look at the satellite image, and we're in for some beautiful weather. We're now going the other way. Which way is that? Up.
Up. That's right.
Yeah. Here we go. We're going to be in the upper 90s today.
And it's going to be. You're going to see 98, 99 over the weekend, and then just inch it back down a little bit. But we got some hot weather in front of us for a little while.
All right.
So so we've been talking a little bit about the F-47, the new fighter. Now, is 47 indicative of what?
President 47.
Is it really? Well, retired Navy Top Gun pilot Matthew Buckley breaks down the game-changing F-47, America's new 6th-generation stealth fighter with AI, and he responds to this clip of Pete Hegseth on Fox.
Now we have the F-47, which sends a very direct, clear message to our allies that we're not going anywhere, and to our enemies that we will be able to project power around the globe unimpeded for generations to come.
Us old fighter pilots, a day like today is a little bittersweet, right? I flew a 4.5 generation fighter, and the 6th generation fighter is just absolutely eye-watering. The fact that it's been flying for about 5 years tells you that they are leaps and bounds ahead, whether it's with the stealth technology, the radar systems, the AI, and obviously the motors that are going to power this thing to be able to hyper cruise at Mach 2 without having to use afterburner and use less fuel. This thing literally is a game changer. Our enemies aren't going to even know they're dead. That's how capable this fighter aircraft is. The AI, it'll really creep you out, Trace. These jets learn what the pilots are looking at or doing at different portions of the flight, and they put that into their data bank. I'd say, Trace, the last generation of fighter pilots, probably in grade school. You're like Elon Musk's shirt that says tech support. As a fighter pilot in the future here, you're going to be kind of a system monitor. So I think we're going to be kind of knights of the round table eventually, sadly.
What do you think of that? As a pilot, as AI becomes more and more prevalent in these next generations, that you're going to be a kind of a systems manager in the cockpit? You're not really going to be flying. What do you think of that?
You know, I've often thought as a pilot, now the fastest thing I've ever flown is a Cessna 310, turbocharged Cessna 310P, okay. Twin engine Cessna. And it cruised at about 225 miles an hour.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
And during those days, I thought I was flying a rocket.
Yeah.
Okay, because you have to, you as a pilot, you have to be miles ahead of that aircraft.
Sure. Yeah.
Your brain has to be not only in the cockpit but out there.
Yeah.
Now you're flying these supersonic things. I can't even imagine thinking that fast.
Yeah.
So if AI is going to be involved, I guess you're at the mercy of a computer.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
You know?
All right.
And if you're just a systems operator, so do you plug in, who knows?
Yeah.
But do you just plug in, I want you to go to, let's see, Iran, I want you to go to Fordo, and I want you to drop this bomb within 2.5 square feet on the right-hand side of that pickup truck.
Yeah.
So what do? Just sit back and watch it?
And ride?
And you write it?
I don't know. But It's an interesting looking aircraft.
Now, I have to say this, though.
Okay.
It's kind of like the ultimate in egoism.
What?
A B-47.
Yeah, F-47.
Excuse me, F-47.
F-47,
That's
right.
different. Yeah. F-40. Well, still.
It's the 47 that's the amazing part, isn't it? Yeah.
I know.
Oh, wow. And he was just sitting there smiling as Hegseth was talking about it.
Okay, so are they coming out with a new B2 something?
I think they are,
so
yeah.
It's a less expensive model?
Oh, I didn't realize that.
I think it just has roll-up windows.
That'll do it.
We'll be right back.
Set free and the tyrants kneel. The walls fall down and our land be healed. But church, if we want to see change in the
Your property demands equipment with more reliability, durability, and versatility built in. Kubota equipment is ready to get the job done right.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian owned and operated, pet friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site 24/7 in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare where your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living, your home.
Worried that inflation might burst your retirement bubble? I'm Michelle Slate. Lighthouse Financial shines guiding light on retirement, investing, and insurance. Helping you navigate the stormy seas of retirement, Lighthouse stands tall as a beacon of hope, offering you wise counsel and biblically responsible investing. Lighthouse Financial. Call us today, 541-494-1034.
I'm holding the many prayer requests that arrive here at the Dove. We're grateful that you include us with your prayer needs. As a staff, know that we join you and pray over your requests for God's help. Have a prayer need? Let us know by going to thedove.us.
You want to buy Jerry's boat? Are you selling your boat?
Yeah. Well, it depends on what develops.
Okay, I get it. Okay, so I had an interesting thing yesterday.
What?
Somebody recommended, because you and I talk about it, that, I don't know, maybe Pom can do this, but they actually film us during the breaks.
No.
And then run it as a feature.
Thanks for the warning.
Yeah. Well, there's no cameras in here now.
Okay.
Because sometimes the breaks are more entertaining.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, they're pretty interesting. All right, let's check in with CBN Newswatch.
This is CBN Newswatch.
Welcome to CBN Newswatch. I'm Gary Lane. Israel's leaders return home as high-level talks in Washington wrap with no breakthrough. Meanwhile, regional threats are multiplying from Iran to the Red Sea. Chuck Holton reports from Jerusalem with the latest developments.
Heavy fighting is ongoing across Gaza as Israeli forces press deeper into Hamas strongholds. Since the end of the last ceasefire in the middle of March, 41 Israeli soldiers have been killed, bringing the total during the ground war to 448. In Judea yesterday, an Israeli man was killed in a stabbing attack at a shopping center. Sources allege the 2 assailants were members of the Palestinian Authority security forces. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has now departed Washington, following meetings with President Trump and families of the hostages.
We are trying to achieve the release of half of the hostages in exchange for a 60-day ceasefire. If Hamas does not meet our terms through negotiations, we will achieve them by force.
Meanwhile, Israeli officials believe part of Iran's 60% enriched uranium stockpile survived last month's joint airstrikes, buried too deep to be destroyed, although it would be difficult for Iran to remove it. Israel may be quietly planning a new wave of strikes on Iran. And in the Red Sea, Houthi militants have resumed missile and drone attacks, threatening commercial shipping and prompting Israel to call on the U.S. to renew airstrikes against Houthi positions in Yemen. From Jerusalem, I'm Chuck Holton for CBN News.
Our CBN News Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell is back with us again. Chris, good to have you
again.
Good
to be back with you again.
So this visit by Bibi Netanyahu, how did it go? What do you think he accomplished?
Well, I don't think he got everything he wanted to, but I think that in terms of the relationship between President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu is really unmatched, as he said himself. I mean, the relationship and the fact that he's not only had one meeting with President Trump, he had 3 meetings. And he met with leaders on Capitol Hill. He also met with evangelical leaders the other night. And I think he of all the prime ministers that I've known about, really fosters this relationship with evangelical leaders. But I think it was a really historic visit, following the war with Iran, and they have major things on the table, the war in Gaza, the continued relationship with Iran. Is Israel going to continue to hit Iranian nuclear sites? And I think he's got the green light. But overall, I think it was a historic visit by the prime minister, and really representing, such a close relationship, I think, than ever before between Israel and the U.S.
Well, there's a lot of political developments overseas, at home for him as he's returned home. Pressures here in the United States, and the media loves to make it seem like there's a division and a divide between Netanyahu and Trump. So what is he facing on these ceasefire negotiations?
Well, he's facing internally, he's facing a lot of challenges on his right and on his left. For example, he wants to maybe pull out of some areas of the Gaza Strip, and some of the ministers on the right are saying, how can you do this? How can you... We have shed blood to get this land and treasure. How can you actually pull out of this area? So that actually threatens his government, Gary. Members of the coalition are threatening to pull out if he goes too far in the ceasefire negotiations. On the other hand, he's getting pressure from many of the hostage families that they say they will do anything to make sure that their loved ones get out of Gaza, including and up to, releasing many more Palestinian prisoners.
And the international community, too. There are a lot of voices out there saying you've got to stop this violence. They blame Israel, even though Israel was attacked, and they're just responding to the attack against them.
Yeah, and they say, if Hamas would surrender, release the hostages, the war would be over. There'd be no need for the fighting. But
how many are left, Chris?
Well, they believe right now about 50, 30 are deceased, 20 are still alive. And just such a difficult time. And this is the one leverage that Hamas has over Israel, and just to keep this fighting going on is these hostages. Yeah.
Okay, Chris Mitchell, our Middle East Bureau Chief. Safe travels back to Israel, and we appreciate you. Keep up the good work. May God bless you in your efforts.
Thanks, Gary.
Yeah, Chris is quite a guy. When we call, he gives us time. But anyway, a lot going on there.
It was interesting to hear of Netanyahu's most recent trip. And I keep thinking back to some of the past visits that he had. This was so significantly different, and what a great partnership is going on between our two countries.
Yep, good stuff all the way around. All right, let's check in with the guy that's not selling his boat.
A look at today's weather from Grange Co-op. With building high pressure into the weekend, temperatures will rise. So today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny skies with highs in the mid-upper 80s for Vancouver and Portland, and low 90s for Wilsonville and McMinnville. Continuing down the Willamette Valley, sunny with daytime high temperatures in the upper 80s to low 90s for Salem, Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene, with a north wind 5 to 10 miles per hour gusting up to 21. More sunshine across central Oregon with daytime highs in the mid to upper 80s for Prineville, Bend, and Sun River with a light northeast wind. Over in Boise, Idaho, sunny, hot, and breezy with a high in the low to mid 90s. Along the Oregon coast, sunny to mostly sunny and breezy with daytime high temperatures near 70 in Coos Bay and mid to upper 60s for Port Orford, Brookings, and Crescent City with gusts up to 34 miles per hour. In southern Oregon, sunny and hot for the Rogue Valley with daytime highs in the low to mid 90s for Grants Pass, Medford, and Ashland with a light and variable wind. In the Klamath Basin, sunny with highs in the mid 90s. Into Northern California, sunny with a high in the mid-90s in Wairika. Moving south, sunny with heat advisories and daytime highs near 109 in Redding, 105 in Chico, and near 102 in Sacramento with a light southwest wind. In the Bay Area, sunny and warm with a high near 90 in Santa Rosa and near 87 in Napa. Becoming sunny in San Francisco with a high near 70 and a southwest wind 5 to 11 miles per hour. And today in San Jose, sunny and low 90s. A snapshot of your Friday weather from Grange Co-op.
All right, there you go. Southern Oregon this morning, clear, hot, and dry. So be careful out there.
All right. Well, we have put a lot of things into space, and sometimes they fall back down, as was the case on this day in history.
In July of 1979, the world turned its eyes to the sky, and not in awe, but in anticipation. Skylab, America's first space station, was making its uncontrolled return to Earth. Launched in 1973, Skylab had spent 6 years orbiting the planet, hosting 3 missions and invaluable scientific research. But after years of exposure to solar radiation and a lack of propulsion to control its descent, Skylab was doomed to fall. Scientists at NASA tracked its path closely, but the exact re-entry point remained uncertain until the final hours. The public was both fascinated and nervous. News outlets around the globe provided breathless updates. Some people wore hard hats, others hosted Skylab parties, and a radio station in San Francisco even offered $10,000 to anyone hit by falling debris. On July 11th, Skylab re-entered Earth's atmosphere, breaking up over the Indian Ocean and remote parts of Western Australia. No injuries occurred, but pieces of the station were recovered, turning up in backyards and museums. Its fiery re-entry on July 11th became an unforgettable moment in space history, a dramatic end to one of NASA's early triumphs in living and working in space.
And the only reason we got the Skylab space station was because the Apollo program was cut short. They took one of the sections of the Saturn V rocket and they turned it into a laboratory and put it into space, and it worked. Yeah.
Yeah, recycling
pretty cool
space parts.
Until it fell down, until it didn't work.
It did.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, as I mentioned earlier, Samaritan's Purse is on the ground there in Kirk County, Texas, and here's an update from Edward Graham.
We've never been through this before, and there's not a word you can't explain.
Right behind me is the Guadalupe River. I'm in Kirk County, Texas. I've talked to several homeowners. There's unbelievable stories of survival, but you've also seen the news and the reports with these children camps that go along the river and how many kids have lost their lives. This part of Texas is really struggling, and I want these people to know they're loved and they're not forgotten. And I was already out this morning with some of our first volunteers to go out and serve in this area. They were excited and ready to go, but they're also grieving with these homeowners.
The heavy lifting has been lifted by Samaritan's Purse, and that just makes my heart feel so good because our bodies are tired and we're exhausted, and now we feel lifted up.
If you're looking at the news and you want to do something about it, you can. You can go to SamaritansPurse.org, find out how you can pray, but you can also sign up to volunteer and come out and be a part of this. Thank you for your support, but most importantly, thank you for praying for Texas.
Yeah, the stories I'm reading about how the faith community has responded is really something. So a bad thing has a way of having a little bit of a silver lining to it, so kind of interesting. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
The Dove has an unexpected expense. Our video switcher must be replaced. It's an important device and will cost $47,500. Will you prayerfully consider helping with this expense? Thank you for partnering with the Dove.
Go where the wild runs
runs deep. At Hellgate Jetboat Excursions, you feel the power of the mighty Rogue River as you take in the sights and sounds of nature, journey through Hellgate Canyon, and adventure through the breathtaking wilderness. Enjoy brunch or dinner on the open-air deck of the exclusive Hellgate River Lodge and end your adventure with our exciting jetboat spins. It's a memory in the making with family and friends. Book your adventure at Hellgate.com. Hellgate Jetboat Excursions, where adventure runs wild.
The Lennox iComfort S30 thermostat can sense changes in your environment. It even knows when you come and go. So now your home's most important system is also the smartest.
Metal Masters can give you the smartest home comfort system available. It knows when you're away and adjusts when allergens and humidity get uncomfortable. Trust Metal Masters to provide perfect air for your family.
Lennox. Air is life. Make it perfect. Looking for the perfect RV adventure?
Team Toner's got you covered from homes to homes on wheels.
Discover unbeatable deals only at American RV in Southern Oregon.
Okay, welcome back. 13 minutes before the hour had Megan Barth on. She's quite the investigative reporter, and she's known for that and well connected. And so one of the mysteries that kind of came into the news and then went away real fast.
Yeah.
There's 3 points of view about this. Okay. What about the Epstein files?
Yeah, what about him?
What about him?
What do you think?
All right. Did he really commit suicide?
Huge number one question. Right.
And is there a little black book?
Oh, yeah, well, see, another great question.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, third. Who's in that book?
Okay. Then you start unwinding this thing, and you go, well, wait a minute. Why would he have? Because that would be extortion. Was he just so busy doing it that he didn't? He just had. It was a business,
right?
So to speak. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, here's her take on it.
Well, supposedly there is no client list now.
Well, there's flight logs.
Well, right. I mean, there was something called the Lolita Express. Mm-hmm. He had multiple homes. And let's not forget, this also goes back to Comey, but someone named Maureen Comey, the daughter of James Comey. She was the leading prosecutor in the Southern District of New York. You know, she's the one that originally brought these charges. But what I found most interesting, you know, in this investigation, they didn't raid any of his houses except for one. And the one that they raided was in New York. He had a ranch in Texas that no one talks about. He had the island, that the Lolita Express went to. He had a flat in Italy. And I think he had another property somewhere. But they didn't seem to raid any of that, or at least we don't know about it. So I think that the kind of the mop up or the cleanup was very early on. They simply took him down because he probably did have a ton of blackmail on some very powerful people, both domestically and internationally. I've also heard reports that he was affiliated with the CIA since his 30s, and he worked very closely with the Israeli government, the Mossad. So, you know, I don't know, honestly, what to believe when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein, but I do believe that the FBI and Pam Bondi only had what they had that was provided to them by the prior administration. And we already know that between probably November, when Trump was reelected, or a second time elected, to January, they had a lot of time to do a lot of cleaning.
Okay, so then yesterday I had John O'Connor on, who was a former federal prosecutor.
Yeah.
Okay. And he kind of echoes what Megan said, basically, and that is they had a lot of time to clean everything up and erase things.
Right.
So you're looking for something that probably, it's kind of like Hillary's swiping of her hard drive.
Yeah, bleach bit all over it, yes. Uh-huh.
Okay, so it's probably all gone. But here's the thing. What if? he was a CIA informant.
That is the biggest thing jumping out in this, and I heard this on another program yesterday too. They started talking about it. He was possibly a CIA operative, maybe even connected with Mossad.
Well, CIA, there's no rules for the CIA outside of the United States. They can do what they want to do.
Okay.
Inside the United States, we have rules and regulations. Outside the United States, it is coercion at any level to get what you want in the way of information.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So, was there a level of his operation that was part of the CIA to extract information on people, or to pigeonhole them, knowing that they could be blackmailed? I mean, look, that's how this. I'm going to say this carefully. That is some of the tactics used in extortion.
Yes. Yes.
And so, I go, when John O'Connor brought this up, and he's certainly no guy out there in conspiracy land.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm going, never thought about that. All of a sudden, this case goes, gone.
Absolutely gone. Yeah.
It's gone. And so I thought, okay, so that means this thing runs a whole lot deeper than we know.
Let's take this even further.
Yeah.
Right. It is gone.
Yeah.
And you might think, okay, there are only two things that would make this go away as fast as it has. Perhaps he truly was involved in the intelligence community, and there are too many sensitive bits of information involved in that for this to come to the light of day. The other would be, who is on that list that's so important that this thing needs to be gone? Is there anybody else on that list? And of course, a lot of people say, yeah, Trump was on that list. And so, and a lot of people, and especially on the right, I'm hearing in conservative talk radio that is the huge suspicion, and that's why this is going away. But I heard it said, and I tend to agree with this, that if Trump was on that list, it would have already been leaked.
Yes, exactly right.
Yeah.
If the president was on there, and the leaks being what they are,
yes,
okay, he would have been named.
I think so.
Okay.
Yes.
So what is really up? It's starting to lean towards now that there is classified information with this that can't go public.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're onto something here.
And we'll never know what all that is.
Right.
Now, don't get me wrong, it's the worst ring you could possibly be running. But on the other hand, if it fits the narrative of intelligent work.
Right. And we know that.
How did he get all this money?
Well,
how did he do this? How did he not get caught sooner?
Well, he was as far as stock trading, the guy was brilliant. He came up through the system, but he ran loose and fancy free in a lot of the ways that he operated.
Yeah.
And it makes you think maybe he was covered by an intelligence umbrella, because we have seen others who have had that kind of, it's not really immunity, but they kind of run wild, like they are immune to justice and to the laws. And we've seen that in other aspects too. FBI informants like Whitey Bulger, for example. He had a vast criminal enterprise, and he was working with the government, and that's why he slid through the cracks.
Okay, so it's possible that what Pam Bundy, Attorney General Bundy, ended up with was half-baked information because it already had been expunged because of CIA connection.
Because of CIA connection.
So, look, this thing runs really deep.
Yeah.
It was bad headlines for it's gone.
Yeah. And don't we have an ex-CIA director under criminal investigation right now? Anyway?
Maybe he's on the list.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Do you think Bill's on the list?
Oh, no, Bill.
Bubba?
Oh, well. I don't know. It's going to be a bad movie someday, and who's going to watch it?
Yeah, good question.
Yeah. It'll be a bad movie.
Yep. Johnny Depp will be starring in it?
I don't know. All right, coming up a little bit later on, our live from Washington, D.C. informant, speaking underground.
Oh, yeah.
Jim Dorn will be back with us. He'll be talking about this past week in Washington. Pretty interesting, especially with the Prime Minister in town. Brad Dacus. It's been a while since we've had Brad, and we'll be talking about some of the Supreme Court ruling, especially as it relates to parental rights.
Oh, okay. Cool. All right. Well, we know that there are things that pop up on the internet, and you sometimes scratch your head and you say, is that real or is that fake? Is this AI or what is this? Well, on this one, chicken or pigeon? Question mark. The internet cannot believe that this bird is real.
At first glance, you might think it's a chicken, but take a closer look. This bizarre-looking bird is actually a Maltese pigeon, and the internet is having a hard time believing it's real. Also known as the Banat chicken pigeon, this fancy pigeon breed is known for its unusually long neck and body, making it look eerily similar to an old-fashioned chicken. Originating in the Banat region, now part of Serbia and Romania, this bird's unique shape continues to spark curiosity and confusion. Is it a chicken or a pigeon? Technically, 100% pigeon.
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 It's a pigeon.
Well, you know, if you like chicken legs, that thing has some serious legs.
I don't know. Have you ever eaten pigeon?
No, thanks.
Okay, it's like eating a boot.
Okay.
All right, 2 Corinthians 5:17. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. Old things have passed away, and behold, all things have become new. That's the promise of the new birth right there. We'll be right back.
The Sherms Market Jackson County Fair is back and bigger than ever. Ride the free shuttle from Crater Football Stadium parking lot Wednesday through Sunday, dropping you right off at the fairgrounds. And hey, Penninger Road parking is free on Tuesday and Sunday. Plus, kids 12 and under get free admission to the fair thanks to the West Family Foundation. Don't miss the rides, food, music, and memories only at the Jackson County Fair. It's fun for the whole herd.
Where big ideas grow.
Spring is around the corner and summer is on its way. With fire danger biting at its heels, flammable blackberries and underbrush will grow like gangbusters and sprout fire danger in no time. A wise property owner knows the best time to take care of fire danger is to extinguish it before it gets started. GMV Forestry, LLC can help you protect your property with adequate firebrush clearing to fireproof a zone around your precious property. With over 35 years experience, GMV Forestry LLC has the knowledge, experience, and all the equipment you need to get the job done right, offering a wide variety of services like mulching, field mowing, snow removal, driveway clearing, ditch cleaning, gravel delivery and spreading, driveway sweeping, logging, and more. GMV Forestry LLC does it all, and they do it right. GMV Forestry LLC, the team you can trust. 541-660-6445. 541-660-6445.
Does talking about sexual topics with your kids make you uncomfortable?
A lot of times parents, what they don't know is the person to introduce these topics to kids first immediately becomes the expert in the kid's head. And so are we allowing Dr. Google, the school counselor, the health teacher, friends, older brothers, are they becoming the experts, or are you establishing I'm the expert?
Join me for the John Ankerberg Show weekdays at 4 o'clock right here on the Dove TV. It'll be encouraging and informative.
Alex McFarland addresses the hard-hitting questions about faith, morality, and culture.
We are to present, explain, defend the gospel.
Watch Alex McFarland Tuesdays and weekends on the Dove TV. The Dove has an unexpected expense. Our video switcher must be replaced. Will you prayerfully consider helping to replace this important equipment? Thank you for partnering with the Dove.
Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Friday. Welcome to Mornings on the Dove, where this is it. This is the place right here because he's here.
Yeah, good morning.
When he's here, I'm here.
Yep.
And I'm here because he's here. Because if I'm not here, he runs wild, and I have to be here.
You know, and good luck on that. Yeah.
Anyway, good morning to you. Happy Friday. Excuse me, Friday. Mm-hmm. And a lot going on in the news. There always is. We'll have that for you. The weather, well, it's going to go the other way. It's going to tick back up. Mm-hmm. We're still fighting some fires here in Southern Oregon. We'll have an update on that. And the whole world's full of news stories. We have all that. Anything special?
Well, it's Brain Freeze Day.
Brain Freeze Day.
Yeah, it's some people call it National 7-Eleven Day. Some people call it National Slurpee Day. You know, and that's why obviously we talk about brain freeze. But this is the day that at 7-Eleven you get a free Slurpee just for going in. It's a small Slurpee, no purchase required. Go and get your free Slurpee, but be careful when you drink it. In fact, I did a story on it not long ago about the scientific name for brain freeze.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was, but we all remember brain freeze.
Brain freeze.
Yeah, so be careful with that. All right. It's also All-American Pet Photo Day.
Oh.
And everybody has pictures of their pet.
Okay.
Their favorite. These are adorable. We're looking at golden retriever.
That's Mercy.
Oh, and there is tell this one.
That's Piper. That's our dog.
Uh-huh.
That's Alice's dog, Rosie.
Okay.
I don't know who that is.
That's cute.
Yeah, no, that's Jason and Pomp's dog.
Oh, really? We got lots of
Why do we have a cat in there?
It's called Pet Photos.
Oh, pets.
Yes, it's not dog photos, pet photos. Oh, that's cute.
There you are, swimming with the ducks.
With the ducks, yes. Oh, these are great, Alice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a kitty cat looking out the window.
Yeah.
Saying, let me out. I'll never come back.
Are those yours?
Those are mine. That's Jeter, that's Mo, and that's Champ. Yep.
Jeter, Mo, Champ?
Jeter, Mo, and Champ. And they eat more than they're worth.
Three Stooges, right?
That's right. And it is National French Fry Day.
All right.
French fries, also known as chips, fries, finger chips, or French fried potatoes. They are batons of deep fried goodness. It's all good potatoes, but any favorite French fries for you?
Well, I have to say, and I don't go there very often. In fact, I hardly go there at all, but I still think, just from memory, the best fries still McDonald's.
They got good fries and they got good coffee.
Oh, that's right, the coffee thing.
What's up with that? I mean, those two things, I mean, they really do
They have that figured out.
And they do other things too, like, did I mention they make really good filet of fish? Huh? Double.
A double.
A double, no less. All right, it's National Rainier Cherry Day. It happens on this day. It celebrates a variety that came about in 1952 when Harry Fogel of Washington State University developed the Rainier Cherry by crossbreeding the Bing and the Van cherry varieties. I don't know anything about the Van cherry. Love Bing cherries, and it is seasoned, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, Pam's been bringing them home. Oh,
where's she getting them?
Oh, I don't know where she. Oh, Food for Less.
Oh no,
Yeah.
no, I know her route. She's stealing them. She's driving around out the country somewhere.
It could be because we see those stands set up this time of year.
Yeah.
And one of the favorite spots is right there on the corner of the fire station there on Avenue G and Antelope. No, not Antelope. Agate Road.
Oh, okay.
Right there, they set up that stand, and it's hard to get by there. Okay. Next, National Blueberry Muffin Day, and gives us a reason to really celebrate in the morning because this is when we eat most of the blueberry muffins. And of all the muffins that we eat in the morning, blueberry muffins are the #1 favorite muffin flavor across the country.
Yeah.
And whether it's for breakfast, a snack, blueberry muffins are a melt in your mouth, delicious treat. Especially when they're warm, a little butter over them. Oh, what could be wrong with that?
Well, you got that down.
And of course, blueberries, it's got antioxidants, so it's good for you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
All right.
Did you know that the very first automobile, Ford automobile, when we think about Ford as a pioneering brand, obviously Henry Ford gave us the first.
It was Firestone, Ford, and
what's his name? Electric light bulb, Edison.
Edison.
Yeah.
And there was another guy, the genius.
Yes.
Einstein.
Einstein. Yeah, they used to go camping together.
They were all buds.
Yeah, they were bros. Did they go in Airstreams? What did they use?
I'm sure they did.
Well, the very first Ford automobile was actually more of a Dodge than it was a Ford.
Oh.
That's because the Dodge brothers, who had their own company, built every part of the earliest Ford except for the seats and tires. They partnered in building cars with Ford, and they received $10,000 in dividends in the first year. And however, in 1913, they decided, no, we're not working for anybody. They informed Henry Ford that they would be done working for him and they were going to start their own company. And the rest, as they say, is history. And some of us drive around in really loud Dodge diesel trucks as a result of it. And, more power to you if you do. So there.
Well, that's interesting. A little trivia there.
Yeah, there was a lot of that early stuff in the early automotive industry. There were a lot of crossing, working for each other and building cars, and then they kind of separated. And then, of course, GM went the opposite. They started acquiring. They went and bought Chevy, and they bought Cadillac, and they started putting them all under one roof. But the strong survived, and the others either merged or fell by the wayside.
Okay, well, this is why you don't want to merge.
A look at today's weather from Grange Co-op. With building high pressure into the weekend, temperatures will rise. So today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny skies with highs in the mid-upper 80s for Vancouver and Portland and low 90s for Wilsonville and McMinnville. Continuing down the Willamette Valley, sunny with daytime high temperatures in the upper 80s to low 90s for Salem, Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene, with a north wind 5 to 10 miles per hour gusting up to 21. More sunshine across central Oregon with daytime highs in the mid to upper 80s for Prineville, Bend, and Sun River with a light northeast wind. Over in Boise, Idaho, sunny, hot, and breezy with a high in the low to mid 90s. Along the Oregon coast, sunny to mostly sunny and breezy with daytime high temperatures near 70 in Coos Bay and mid to upper 60s for Port Orford, Brookings, and Crescent City with gusts up to 34 miles per hour. In southern Oregon, sunny and hot for the Rogue Valley with daytime highs in the low to mid 90s for Grants Pass, Medford, and Ashland with a light and variable wind. In the Klamath Basin, sunny with highs in the mid 90s. Into northern California, sunny with a high in the mid-90s in Wairika. Moving south, sunny with heat advisories and daytime highs near 109 in Redding, 105 in Chico, and near 102 in Sacramento with a light southwest wind. In the Bay Area, sunny and warm with a high near 90 in Santa Rosa and near 87 in Napa. Becoming sunny in San Francisco with a high near 70 and a southwest wind 5 to 11 miles per hour. And today in San Jose, sunny and low 90s. A snapshot of your Friday weather from Grange Co-op.
Okay, hot and dry, and that's what we have out there. We still have some fires going, but they're getting them under control. But that shows you just what's going on. Beautiful morning, and it's going to be a little warmer today, so be careful.
Well, when we talk about salvation, it can spur some interesting conversations between how secure are you in your salvation? Can you lose your salvation? Are you neglecting your salvation?
You didn't
Say what?
ask that question.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, we stirred up in the morning. So I'm not going to say anything more. I'm going to leave it to Pastor Jack Graham with his encouragement right here.
God is calling us to meaningful directions, not just floating away. And with that is a compelling affirmation. Because the key word in this passage, if you don't want to drift, is salvation. You see it right in the middle of this passage. How will we escape? How will we survive if we neglect this great salvation? If you are a follower of Jesus, you know that salvation does not come from your human achievement, your efforts, your performance, but by the grace of God, the gift of God. What is the gospel that was announced by Jesus, that was advanced by the apostles, that was attested to by the Holy Spirit with these signs and wonders and miracles? It's the gospel of salvation. It's the gospel of the cross and the resurrection. So here's a news alert. It's a good news alert. You're not saved by keeping commandments, achieving personal goals, bonifying your behavior. You are saved by the grace alone, in Christ alone, through faith alone. That's why this salvation is so great.
Well, preach it, Dr. Jack.
Yes, amen.
Good stuff all the way around.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, good morning to you. 10 minutes past the hour. Let's take a look at some of the top stories. And kind of interesting out there this morning. This is a case that kind of was brewing out there, and I didn't know that it got to the point. But yesterday, a judge ruled that former CNN anchor Don Lemon can go ahead with his lawsuit against Elon Musk. And apparently there was an agreement that Lemon was going to have some kind of a broadcast on X.
Okay.
And Elon said no and breached the contract.
Oh.
So apparently the lawsuit's gone forward.
Well, it's interesting, they're shining some light on that, because I thought when I saw these headlines, I actually didn't get into the story. I thought maybe Elon had said something about Don Lemon and he found him liable, and so they were going to, but no, they was entering into a business deal. Why would Elon want to get into any kind of a deal with Lemon?
Well, you got to remember at one time Elon was pretty left.
Oh, you know what? That's a great point.
And he may be returning there.
Yeah.
He's got some problems.
Yes.
He's got one foot in both camps and thinks he can somehow create a third party in the middle. It's sad to watch because the guy is really,
very talented.
When he's thinking right, it's really good stuff.
Right.
But anyway, you know what this will be?
What?
This will be a settlement.
I think you are right. Yes.
Yeah. Here's Don. Here's $1 million. Go fishing.
Exactly, and he'll take it. Yep.
In the meantime, as you know, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has been in Washington D.C. They had some high-level talks with the president, and they are probably mapping out where we are now and where we need to go. And it's been said that Israel plans on finishing what the United States did 2 weeks ago. But the Prime Minister is very complimentary of President Trump, and here's what he had to say.
We've never had such a friend, such a supporter of Israel, the Jewish state, in the White House. President Trump has been, what can I tell you, tremendous. I mean, and the cooperation is tremendous. Look at what our cooperation produces. Look at what happens when there's no daylight between an American president and an Israeli prime minister. We roll back the greatest threat to to both our countries. Iran is trying to build nuclear weapons. We stopped it in the nick of time. Those nuclear weapons were to be equipped on ballistic missiles that certainly wreak havoc in Israel now without nuclear weapons, but they're aimed to be intercontinental ballistic missiles that could reach this city, this house, and New York, and Philadelphia, and Miami, and Mar-a-Lago. They actually put a price on President Trump's head and mine. Did you see this? This is what happened in the last 2 days. And issued a religious fatwa, a decree that says that we have to be assassinated. These are enemies of the United States. Iran says death to America, death to Israel. America is the great Satan, Israel is the small Satan, but we stand in their way. They want to develop the means of mass death, atomic bombs, and the means to deliver them to every theater near you. That's what they're trying to do. And we stopped them. We rolled back this grave menace to our survival by a regime that has these monstrous proxies like Hamas and Hezbollah, whom we beat too.
And the Houthis.
And the Houthis, we haven't finished. We've got a job to do. But I can tell you that America started something. We'll finish it.
Amazing. That is amazing. Yep.
So what does that mean?
I don't know.
Yeah, so we still don't know what the outcome is of the high-power meetings as it relates to just Hamas and Gaza, let alone you cannot allow Iran to reemerge. So we'll see what happens, but that's pretty big statements.
Huge, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, well, listen, back to Texas and the floods down there. This is just staggering what's going on, but there is really a little bit of a silver lining here. And that is the faith community has united in ways that we haven't seen in a long, long time. And I'm talking cross-denominational.
All right.
This is the way it should work.
Yeah.
And they're all working together, and they're taking care of this community, and it is remarkable. We'll have a report a little bit later on. Samaritan Purse is there to help as well. But 120 people plus have lost their lives in a 50-mile stretch of this river. And guess what? 170 people are still unaccounted for. And the stories and the children and the young girls from that camp. So with food and clothing and water and support and medical supplies and everything to help, and they're going through layers and layers and layers of debris and stuff, getting down to where there may be an RV or a car at the bottom of all of this with somebody in it.
Right.
So I just want to say that we experienced this here in Southern Oregon several years ago during the Alameda fire. It was so interesting to see the faith community come together. One church did water, the other one did clothing, another one did, all this, and the way they worked together to help. And Samaritan Spurs came in, and then after all of this here at the Alameda fire, as you know, I just want to say to all of our governmental officials in Southern Oregon, whether it was the county, the city, the state, the feds, they all worked together under the great leadership of their mayor then, Terry Baker, and the city council. And look at Phoenix today, up out of the ground.
Yeah.
So what you're seeing here is the seedbed of the faith community, not only helping now, they'll be there when this is all dried out and help them rebuild. This is amazing. And we'll have a report on that from Samaritan Spurs.
You made a great point. It's nice how all elements of the faith community are coming together. We have more in common than we have in differences between us.
Yeah. I think we can agree on the essentials. Can we celebrate that? We'll disagree all day long on the non-essentials. Then we'll argue over what is essential and what's not essential. Come on.
Exactly.
We're here to serve humanity, and there it is. It's just absolutely wonderful to watch. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. Will you prayerfully consider helping the Dove with, quite frankly, an unexpected expense? We have to replace our main switcher here at the Dove TV. Now, we weren't expecting that or budgeted for it, but the manufacturer now no longer supports this unit. To replace it's about $47,500. So we're asking you to prayerfully consider supporting us and only do what the Lord is leading you to do. Feel free to give us a call or go online. And please know that together, we really are changing lives for good.
Stewardship begins with the knowledge that nothing belongs to us, but everything belongs to the Lord. This helps us to run a business not in the fear of lack, but in the assurance of His care and provision. Such a perspective eliminates the drive to sell and replaces it with a heart that says serve. This begins with serving our clients and coworkers with integrity and genuine care. That's why McKelly's is automotive service with a heart for God, and treating others as we ourselves would want to be treated. Our promise is to never sell our clients anything we don't believe they need. Another is to do all we can to meet other needs, such as shuttle service and loaner cars, or taking the time to really listen, even at times praying with our customers. Sometimes this means sacrifice, going above and beyond, but that's why I work for Kelly's Automotive Service, honoring God while serving people with honesty and integrity.
Grange Co-op, where big ideas grow.
All right, good morning to you. 19 and a half now past the hour of a Friday morning, and as we head towards the weekend. Some backyard news, will he not? Well, as you remember a little bit earlier during this legislative session here in the state of Oregon, they passed a bill where the governor would be given the right to appoint somebody in the U.S. Senate if somebody vacated the seat.
Okay.
Whether they, in other words, they're still in the term, they left before the end of their term. So we're not talking about re-election, but they left in the middle of their term for whatever the reason is, okay? And we thought, well, we were one of the few states that didn't have that rule. Most states have that rule. I thought, okay, why are they doing this? Well, that was an indicator somebody's going to retire.
Yeah.
Really. Well, the rumors were kind of put to bed yesterday because Senator Jeff Merkley announced that he will run again, even though he was thinking about not doing it.
Okay.
So why? Here's what he had to say.
I wanted to be very thoughtful about this question of running for a fourth term. And if you had asked me a few months ago, and if I had confided in you, which I kept my thoughts to myself, just Mary and I, as we wrestled with it, said we were leaning towards not running. But the magnitude of the darkness and danger that Trump is presenting, so dark and so dangerous that I am calling on everyone to be off the couch, to hold their electeds accountable, and to do so fiercely.
Okay, so I guess he's setting himself up to be somewhat of a vigilante kind of guy. I'm here for you because I'm going to stay in this thing even though I really don't want to because things are so dark. Typical fear-mongering that the left does so well.
Has the left not learned anything? They ran their last whole campaign cycle, the last one, on a platform of blocking Donald Trump, of trying to save us from Donald Trump, trying to save the Republic. And by the way, did you notice Merkley, that sign over his shoulder, said, join us, help us save our Republic?
Yeah.
It was like, oh, wait a minute. You guys have tried this already. You've already failed. What are you going to do for us instead of trying to block President Trump?
Well, he's in, but here's my thought. He said, we lean towards not doing it.
Right.
So he's got 1 foot in and 1 foot out. He wants to be reelected as some kind of a, vigilante for the saving the country from this mean guy. Okay.
Right.
And then he gets in and he's a year or so into his fifth term and he decides, I need to go home.
My work is done here.
My work is done here.
Yeah.
So, and they assign the seat to somebody else. So, anyway, look, I've met Senator Merkley on quite a few occasions. He's a nice guy.
Okay.
I couldn't agree more with his policies, but you get tired of this fear mongering. It just drives you crazy. You have it.
Vote for me. I'll save you from Trump. Here we go again.
I don't know why they want to be fear mongers. I don't. Anyway. All right, the other story is we still have some fires going on. We don't quite have the air arsenal out our door this morning. We did yesterday morning, but we still have a couple of bad fires that are working. The biggest one so far is just south of us here in Siskiyou County, and it's called the Butler Fire. It's 3,600 acres, so that one's still burning. I would imagine they'll be on that. But boy, they were attacking it last night from the air. The ground crews are working. Very steep terrain, which always makes difficult conditions for fighting these fires. And then the other fire that broke out last night for a while and really flared up was what they call the Jimmy Peak fire. And that flared up. But boy, they were flying like crazy last night, and they were hitting the stuff pretty hard. But we're not in the clear yet. And you can see there by that image how steep the terrain is in fighting those fires.
Yeah.
It's tough go.
Now, as far as the aircraft that we get here, Perry, and we've been really looking at the inventory recently, are we one of the main firefighting hubs on the West Coast?
Good point. Good question. The late Jack Walker, who was the Jackson County Commissioner, and Jack was a good guy, and I knew him well. And Chris Walker, his niece, is our county clerk.
Yeah.
Anyway, long story short. He fought like crazy to have the tanker air base here, right outside our door. You can go out that door and look, and you'll see it.
Okay.
Yeah. And so we have one of the main firefighter tanker bases on the West Coast right here.
Oh, wow.
And look at this. This is the DC-10. We had 3 of those here yesterday.
Amazing.
We still have 1 here today. We have the Hercules that comes in and out. We had the British 4-engine jet thing that comes in and out. We have the MB-80s from Erickson. There's the Hercules. All of these aircraft we can handle here. We not only can fill them up with the fire retardant, but we can refuel them.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And so the FBO here, Millionaire, that has all of the aviation fuel, does a wonderful job. And they're Johnny on the spot. Okay, so there you see the DC-10. But
Very cool.
Is that this morning?
Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it?
It is, isn't it? Is that this morning?
Is that right now?
That's right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, look at that.
Oh,
Thanks,
yeah.
guys. So that shows you, that's the other side of the air base right there. So this is cool stuff. Look at this. And there's our building.
I know. This is really good.
All right, so you can see the MB-80 sitting over there.
Yep.
Okay, so anyway, yeah. So we are a hub, yes.
Yeah, because obviously we get so many assets here. It's amazing. And then I realized that we have a lot of fires in Northern California as well as obviously Southern Oregon and even up. What's below us? Where else is it? Sacramento?
I do know that the old McClellan Air Base is one. I don't know if Chico is one.
Okay.
I don't know that. I think the DC-10s come from Sacramento. Some of them do. No, wait a minute. No, I'm wrong on that. I don't know where the DC-10 to. I know that McClellan has the 747.
I have a question about the DC-10s. Those are wide bodies. Those are big planes. Did we have to do anything to our runways to accommodate them?
No. The vision of the airport management here is some of the best. So, we had Air Force One in here.
That's right. And I remember there was a debate about that. That was too big to land on.
Yeah, we're fine.
Wow.
Yeah, we're a small town big guy.
Okay. All right.
Good stuff all the way around. All right, let's take a look at Wall Street on a Friday morning. And thank you, Preston. He has smart lawn. If you're smart, you'll call him. And then you won't have to water your lawn. You won't have to edge it. You won't have to do anything. You just enjoy it. Whoa. Not happy this morning. The Dow's down 271, almost 272. The NAS is off 40.5 points, and the S&P down 28 points. So who knows what's driving that down? We'll find that out in a minute. In the meantime, that did push gold to $33.66. Look at that, silver $38.50. Wow. And crude oil's up $1, $67.20 a barrel.
Well, it's interesting we look at the stock market as we come into this next story because there is no bigger capitalist center in our country than New York City. And now they have a socialist/communist mayoral candidate. Wow, it's hard to get your mind around it. But a former New York City mayoral candidate, Fernando Mateo, reacted to this clip of socialist mayoral candidate Zoran Mamdani on Fox Business's Stuart Varney.
And to have this endorsement a few months from the general election, it shows New Yorkers the choice that they will have in November. A choice between myself and the architect of Tier 6 and Andrew Cuomo, a choice between myself and the mayor that this union had to sue to actually put that money back into schools, in Mayor Eric Adams.
Listen, let's hope that New York wakes up and understands that the choices that we have are very simple. It will be Mamdani or it will be Eric Adams. Cuomo needs to exit. He can't spoil New York City.
Why doesn't he exit?
Because he spoiled the state of New York. He had to resign in disgrace. He was beaten by Mamdani. Eric Adams is the sitting mayor. His record speaks for itself. Lowest crime rates in the history of New York City right now we're living, okay? We need to get Curtis Lewa out. The only way he gets out.
He's the Republican candidate for mayor, and he's been a perennial candidate, but frankly has no chance of winning with all the Democrats here.
He has no chance, and he's spoiling the coffee. John Catsimatidis has the power to pull the plug on Curtis Lewa. You're either fired or you come back to work.
Catsimatidis owns ABC and employs Curtis Lewa.
That is correct. And John is a great man. He's behind Eric Adams. But right now we cannot take a chance and allow Mamdani to come forward and continue gaining momentum. This guy is dangerous. New York City is a capitalist city. It's a city that's built with migrants, people that came here to build a fortune.
Yes.
They don't want socialism. If you want a taste of socialism, if you're backing Mamdani and you want a taste of socialism, go to Venezuela, go to Nicaragua, go to Cuba, get a taste of it, and you will see how bitter that taste is. We are here. We're New Yorkers. We love New York. We cannot afford for this election to go straight. Cuomo, please get out.
Whoa.
Well, he's making the argument.
Yes.
In all three cases. Now, Eric Adams has certainly started off wrong, and I think now he's seen the ways of his heirs, and he's turned around coming back.
Yeah, well, and I also think, too, Eric Adams, he was an enemy of the last administration. I think that actually makes him someone that a lot of people would like to take a second look at. So if you were out with Biden, maybe there's some merit to this.
Well, he's making a very passionate plea, and it's the right one.
Mm-hmm.
You could take this to one more level and just give it about 6 months.
And
that is, Elon Musk, don't start a third party.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
You will be handing it to the left.
Yes.
Hopefully he's smart enough to see that.
Yeah, I hope so.
He may not be.
Well, he may have too much ego involved. I mean, obviously he's a sharp guy.
Ego, what's that?
That's, remember he and another guy with a pretty healthy ego, they used to be buddies, and now I think a lot of us wondered how long it would last.
Well, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Two egos that size can't stay in the same room.
Exactly.
All of a sudden you run out of real estate. We'll be right back.
Your yard is where life happens, but it can be muddy and hard to maintain. Enjoy a maintenance-free artificial turf lawn all year round with Smart Lawn LLC. No mowing, no fertilizing, no watering. Our synthetic grass is beautiful and resilient. It's certified to be lead-free, and there's no need for pesticides. Safe for your children and pets. Smart Lawn LLC has all your artificial turf and putting green areas covered beautifully. 541-941-3538.
Wildfire season is coming. Are you ready? All it takes is one small ember to level a home. Reduce any fire hazards around your home and property to prevent an escaped fire from spreading out of control and to protect your home from an oncoming wildfire. It's called Defensible Space, and it works. Go to keeporegongreen.org to learn more.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Baptism is merely a symbol of the spiritual reality. It declares what happens spiritually when we embrace Christ. When I go under the water, I identify with his death and with his burial. Because my friend, in God's eyes, it was me hanging on the cross. Jesus Christ died as my representative. He died as your representative. And when we go under the waters of baptism, I am fully identifying with his death and burial. Coming out of the water, I identify with his resurrection. He came up out of the grave, he received a new life, and death no longer has a hold on him. And my friend, when I embraced Jesus Christ, I came up out of the grave of sin, and sin no longer has a hold on me.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Good morning to you. 27 minutes before the hour on a beautiful Friday morning as things heat up, and we went from warm to hot.
Mm-hmm.
We're back at it for a couple of days, so be careful out there. Well, a lot going on with the Middle East. President Trump and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu have met. We really haven't heard the ingredients. And
we haven't.
The outcome from that.
Yeah.
So let's check in with CBN Newswatch and get caught up.
This is CBN Newswatch.
Welcome to CBN Newswatch. I'm Gary Lane. Israel's leaders return home as high-level talks in Washington wrap with no breakthrough. Meanwhile, regional threats are multiplying from Iran to the Red Sea. Chuck Holton reports from Jerusalem with the latest developments.
Heavy fighting is ongoing across Gaza as Israeli forces press deeper into Hamas strongholds. Since the end of the last ceasefire in the middle of March, 41 Israeli soldiers have been killed, bringing the total during the ground war to 448. In Judea yesterday, an Israeli man was killed in a stabbing attack at a shopping center. Sources allege the two assailants were members of the Palestinian Authority security forces. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has now departed Washington, following meetings with President Trump and families of the hostages.
We are trying to achieve the release of half of the hostages in exchange for a 60-day ceasefire. If Hamas does not meet our terms through negotiations, we will achieve them by force.
Meanwhile, Israeli officials believe part of Iran's 60% enriched uranium stockpile survived last month's joint airstrikes, buried too deep to be destroyed, although it would be difficult for Iran to remove it. Israel may be quietly planning a new wave of strikes on Iran. And in the Red Sea, Houthi militants have resumed missile and drone attacks, threatening commercial shipping and prompting Israel to call on the U.S. to renew airstrikes against Houthi positions in Yemen. From Jerusalem, I'm Chuck Holton for CBN News.
Our CBN News Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell is back with us again. Chris, good to have you
again.
Good
to be back with you again.
So this visit by Bibi Netanyahu, how did it go? What do you think he accomplished?
Well, I don't think he got everything he wanted to, but I think that in terms of the relationship between President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu is really unmatched, as he said himself. I mean, the relationship and the fact that he's not only had one meeting with President Trump, he had 3 meetings. And he met with leaders on Capitol Hill. He also met with evangelical leaders the other night. And I think he of all the prime ministers that I've known about, really fosters this relationship with evangelical leaders. But I think it was a really historic visit, following the war with Iran, and they have major things on the table, the war in Gaza, the continued relationship with Iran. Is Israel going to continue to hit Iranian nuclear sites? And I think he's got the green light. But overall, I think it was a historic visit by the prime minister, and really representing, such a close relationship, I think, than ever before between Israel and the U.S.
Well, there's a lot of political developments overseas, at home for him as he's returned home. Pressures here in the United States, and the media loves to make it seem like there's a division and a divide between Netanyahu and Trump. So what is he facing on these ceasefire negotiations?
Well, he's facing internally, he's facing a lot of challenges on his right and on his left. For example, he wants to maybe pull out of some areas of the Gaza Strip, and some of the ministers on the right are saying, how can you do this? How can you... We have shed blood to get this land and treasure. How can you actually pull out of this area? So that actually threatens his government, Gary. Members of the coalition are threatening to pull out if he goes too far in the ceasefire negotiations. On the other hand, he's getting pressure from many of the hostage families that they say they will do anything to make sure that their loved ones get out of Gaza, including and up to, releasing many more Palestinian prisoners.
And the international community, too. There are a lot of voices out there saying you've got to stop this violence. They blame Israel, even though Israel was attacked, and they're just responding to the attack against them.
Yeah, and they say, if Hamas would surrender, release the hostages, the war would be over. There'd be no need for the fighting. But
how many are left, Chris?
Well, they believe right now about 50, 30 are deceased, 20 are still alive. And just such a difficult time. And this is the one leverage that Hamas has over Israel, and just to keep this fighting going on is these hostages. Yeah.
Okay, Chris Mitchell, our Middle East Bureau Chief. Safe travels back to Israel, and we appreciate you. Keep up the good work. May God bless you in your efforts.
Thanks, Gary.
Well, there you go. I think that this just gets... Something's brewing, and we don't know what it all is yet. For them to meet 3 times and there's no release of any information tells me that they're planning something.
Some good insight there into some of the pressures behind the scenes on Benjamin Netanyahu, from the different directions that are pulling from hostage families to inside his own government, trying to negotiate this. It's a lot of stuff that's not real visible to us.
No, there's still some things here. Yeah. But I think the bottom line is something yet is to happen.
Yep, I think you're right.
All right, good morning to you. Happens all the time. We call it Jerry.
A look at today's weather from Grange Co-op. With building high pressure into the weekend, temperatures will rise. So today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny skies with highs in the mid-upper 80s for Vancouver and Portland, and low 90s for Wilsonville and McMinnville. Continuing down the Willamette Valley, sunny with daytime high temperatures in the upper 80s to low 90s for Salem, Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene, with a north wind 5 to 10 miles per hour gusting up to 21. More sunshine across central Oregon with daytime highs in the mid to upper 80s for Prineville, Bend, and Sun River with a light northeast wind. Over in Boise, Idaho, sunny, hot, and breezy with a high in the low to mid 90s. Along the Oregon coast, sunny to mostly sunny and breezy with daytime high temperatures near 70 in Coos Bay and mid to upper 60s for Port Orford, Brookings, and Crescent City with gusts up to 34 miles per hour. In southern Oregon, sunny and hot for the Rogue Valley with daytime highs in the low to mid 90s for Grants Pass, Medford, and Ashland with a light and variable wind. In the Klamath Basin, sunny with highs in the mid 90s. Into northern California, sunny with a high in the mid 90s in Wairika. Moving south, sunny with heat advisories and daytime highs near 109 in Redding, 105 in Chico, and near 102 in Sacramento with a light southwest wind. In the Bay Area, sunny and warm with a high near 90 in Santa Rosa and near 87 in Napa. Becoming sunny in San Francisco with a high near 70 and a southwest wind 5 to 11 miles per hour. And today in San Jose, sunny and low 90s. A snapshot of your Friday weather from Grange Co-op.
All right, there's a shot of from the top of Roxanne looking kind of north this morning. And there it is, clear skies, but all brown, and it's supposed to be hot and dry. That afternoon wind is what really makes things miserable.
Oh, yeah.
And if there's a fire, that wind kicks up.
Dangerous, yes. Well, in the last 65 years or so, we have put a lot of stuff into space. Occasionally, some of that stuff falls back down to Earth, as happened on this day in history.
In July of 1979, the world turned its eyes to the sky, and not in awe, but in anticipation. Skylab, America's first space station, was making its uncontrolled return to Earth. Launched in 1973, Skylab had spent 6 years orbiting the planet, hosting 3 missions and invaluable scientific research. But after years of exposure to solar radiation and a lack of propulsion to control its descent, Skylab was doomed to fall. Scientists at NASA tracked its path closely, but the exact re-entry point remained uncertain until the final hours. The public was both fascinated and nervous. News outlets around the globe provided breathless updates. Some people wore hard hats, others hosted Skylab parties, and a radio station in San Francisco even offered $10,000 to anyone hit by falling debris. On July 11th, Skylab re-entered Earth's atmosphere, breaking up over the Indian Ocean and remote parts of Western Australia. No injuries occurred, but pieces of the station were recovered, turning up in backyards and museums. Its fiery re-entry on July 11th became an unforgettable moment in space history, a dramatic end to one of NASA's early triumphs in living and working in space.
And of course, Skylab only came about because the early closing down of the Apollo program, and they turned one of the section of the Saturn V rocket into the Skylab laboratory up there.
Recycled it.
They recycled it, yeah. That was great recycling. And one of the greatest things they did a lot of experimenting with the astronauts living in space. And they had kind of a workout room in there, and they had a track. Remember, they had a running track around and these guys would run on the inside of this thing, and I guess their motion would keep them on the track. But it was fascinating to see what these guys were doing in space. Wow. We never get tired of watching people floating around.
No, we don't.
And doing that
Did
stuff.
anybody get hit with the debris?
No, nobody. Yeah, so the radio station that offered $10,000 if you got hit, they didn't have to pay anybody. Okay. Leave it to a radio station, no doubt.
Yeah. The radio station still on the air?
That's a great question.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, listen, being an aviation enthusiast that I am, this is quite the milestone. This is the 50th year of the aviation department of Samaritan's Purse, and here's an update.
For the last 50 years, Samaritan's Purse has been delivering aid and help around the world in Jesus' name, and Mission Aviation Services has been a huge part of that effort.
Samaritan's Purse Mission Aviation Services exist in order to get supplies and people to different locations at a rapid pace. We have airplanes all around the world. We have some stationed in Alaska, in Africa, here in Greensboro, in North Wilkesboro.
We're ready to go at 24 hours notice whenever we get a call. Whenever there's a disaster or if there's a problem anywhere in the world, we're prepared to go.
We're
the 767, we're able to load an entire Tier 3 hospital, perform surgeries in order to help the people that are in need.
We flew 4 relief missions to Brazil, Porto Alegre. They had the worst flooding in their nation's history. We delivered over 208,000 pounds of cargo within 7 days.
When the roads were washed away during Hurricane Helene, the helicopters were the only means that we had available to get to these people. If we hadn't used aircraft, these people wouldn't have got the generators, the fuel, the winter supplies that they needed at that time.
In South Sudan, there's really no other way to get around other than via air. And like today, we're flying down to pick up patients for the cleft lip program, where they'll get surgery, and then we'll take them home. Air transport is a critical piece of the cleft lip program. And if there wasn't airplanes, nobody would get their lips fixed.
When we hear on the news that there's been a disaster somewhere in the world, especially in the Caribbean during hurricane season, we immediately come here and prepare for what we have to do. Now, the airplane is kept ready to go at any time, and pilots are ready to go at a moment's notice.
There may be people without housing, without water, without medicines, injured. Every minute counts. Because of the work that we're doing, there's a lot of people today who are alive, healthy, and more importantly, know Christ.
The reason Samaritan's Purse is here is to take the love and the gospel of Jesus Christ to the ends of the world.
It's not just hauling cement. What we're doing is furthering the gospel, building God's kingdom.
Galatians 6:9 says, "Don't grow weary for doing good." We can't give up when we're providing the relief that the people need. And it's not just providing that relief. When we bring those supplies, we're not only saving their lives, but we're saving their souls as well.
When we fly, we take this ministry to other locations and we share the love of Jesus. That's what our mission is.
Well, I've been up close to a lot of their airplanes.
Yeah.
And they had one of the last flying DC-6s, DC-7s, and I think they finally retired it. They tried hard to keep it in the air, and they ended up buying all the parts available to keep it going.
Yeah.
But you just don't fly those anymore. So they fly a lot of turbine, some piston, a lot of jets, a lot of helicopters. Franklin himself is a pilot.
I didn't know that.
I saw him take delivery of a Kodiak, which is one of my bucket list planes to fly.
Really?
I hope someday I can fly it.
Yeah.
But anyway, he took delivery of the. I think he's got 2 of them now for what they do, which is a airplane designed by missionaries for missionary work.
Oh.
And they're built in Idaho.
Oh, wow.
And there's a video of him hopping in and doing the pre-check and taking off.
I'll be darned. You know what? This really impressed me. I didn't realize how big of an Air Force Samaritan's Purse has. And then you start thinking about the logistics involved in their operations and what they do. It's mind-boggling.
It really is.
Oh, man.
Franklin Graham spoke at the NRB a couple of years ago, and it was the year that there was this great effort against Christian organizations under the, I have to say this, but it was under the Biden administration. They were doing all kinds of crazy things. And all their insurance got canceled for their airplanes. And boy, do we understand that. And then insurance for other things they do. And then their bank got all upside down. They had to move everything. They had to stop operation and reconnect with other companies because they were a nonprofit organization doing humanitarian work.
That's crazy.
It's just crazy. Yeah, it really is. All right, well, we're crazy. But, you know, when you interview here, first thing we want to know, are you bipolar? And if you are, you go to the second interview. We'll be right back.
Life has many challenges. When you need answers, theDove.us is here with encouragement, videos, news, and information to restore, renew, and point you to what matters most. Turn to theDove.us, encouraging and informative.
Spring is around the corner and summer is on its way. With fire danger biting at its heels, flammable blackberries and underbrush will grow like gangbusters and sprout fire danger in no time. A wise property owner knows the best time to take care of fire danger is to extinguish it before it gets started. GMV Forestry LLC can help you protect your property with adequate fire brush clearing, to fireproof a zone around your precious property. With over 35 years experience, GMV Forestry LLC has the knowledge, experience, and all the equipment you need to get the job done right, offering a wide variety of services like mulching, field mowing, snow removal, driveway clearing, ditch cleaning, gravel delivery and spreading, driveway sweeping, logging, and more. GMV Forestry LLC does it all, and they do it right. GMV Forestry LLC, the team you can trust. 541-660-6445. 541-660-6445.
Buying or selling a home can be stressful. It's one of the biggest decisions you'll make in your lifetime. That's why it's important to work with someone you trust, someone who has the right experience and knowledge of the market.
Hi, we're Patrick and Paulina Lizer with Lizer Real Estate Group.
And whether you're looking to buy or sell a home, our mission is to take the stress out of the transaction and make it as seamless and rewarding as possible.
Contact us today. We look forward to working with you.
They're fun-loving twins. They love God, hunting, and pranking each other. Join the Hamptons for outdoor adventure every weekend on Twin Factor. Brought to you by Black Flag Armory in Medford and Grants Pass. Truly excellent service.
All right, good morning to you. Of course, a fading story, as you know, headlines here in America. What are they last 20 minutes?
Yeah, maybe.
At the most?
Yeah.
Well, the big story that kind of is fading away is the Jeffrey Epstein whole thing. And I don't mean to dwell on this, but there's something else brewing with this case, and that is why all of a sudden the case is disappearing.
Yeah.
And is it possible that they weren't given all the information and a lot of stuff has been, washed away? Kind of like what Hillary did when she wiped clean. Remember, she pulled out the cloth and she was going.
She had that bleach bet. Yeah, she did it.
Anyway, that's kind of it.
Yeah.
Megan Barth believes that. I had her on the program. She's an investigative reporter, and she thinks that Attorney General Pam Bondi was not given everything that she needed to, I guess, express what other people are wanting to see. Apparently, it's not available. So anyway, here's what she had to say.
I don't think it was complete. I do remember reading maybe 1 or 2 weeks ago, that the FBI, led by Kash Patel, found that there was a whole separate kind of 7th floor FBI unit that was working outside of the purview they were working under the director, but it wasn't known. Right? It was like this whole clandestine operation within the FBI. And they were, hitting roadblocks when they were trying to dig in and find, personnel files, investigations that were opened and have suddenly just, the contents have disappeared. So you only know what you know, and you only have what you have, right? So whatever has been given to them or passed on to this administration is incomplete at best and destroyed at worst. And I think a lot of this is noise right now, and I think some of it's justified, especially when it comes to Epstein. There's a lot of questions. But what Trump can do is continue to operate above the noise and deliver his agenda to the American people and turn this country around. Because when you have a booming economy, when you have safety and security, that's what people are going to be talking about, and that's what people vote for. Yeah. These controversies, these conspiracies, and I don't like to call them conspiracies, but they're controversial and they're conspiratorial, will fade into the background, but there will be people that will hold on to these like pit bulls on a bone.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we're learning now is that a lot of evidence was destroyed long before it ever got to Bondi's desk. Okay, that's number one. Number two, we're also beginning to sense that this thing goes a whole lot deeper. And was Jeffrey Epstein, was he a CIA informant?
Or an operative.
Or operative, excuse me.
Yeah, well, either way. I mean, he may have been one or both.
Or both.
Yeah. So what do you think?
I just thought it was a dirty story, and it is. Yeah. But when I had John O'Connor on, who was a former federal prosecutor, a very intelligent guy, and I think a very smart guy, he thinks the connection to the CIA is a whole lot deeper than we're talking about.
Interesting. Wow.
So when you get to stuff at that level, you want everything to go away.
Yeah.
Especially if it's intelligence.
Yeah.
So much for that. Anyway, I got some great guests coming up, so stick around. We're going to go to Washington, D.C. and talk to our good friend Jim Dorn. He's kind of like a Republican strategist, and he'll tell us how wrong we are about everything.
All right, cool. Well,
love you, Jim.
Here's what you can tell me. Is this a chicken or a pigeon? The internet can't believe that this is a real bird.
At first glance, you might think it's a chicken, but take a closer look. This bizarre-looking bird is actually a Maltese pigeon, and the internet is having a hard time believing it's real. Also known as the Banat chicken pigeon, this fancy pigeon breed is known for its unusually long neck and body, making it look eerily similar to an old-fashioned chicken. Originating in the Banat region, now part of Serbia and Romania, this bird's unique shape continues to spark curiosity and confusion. Is it a chicken or a pigeon? Technically, 100% pigeon.
How do you like to eat one of those legs?
I was going to say, does the Colonel know that exists? Did the Colonel say that one?
Oh, yes.
Boy, oh, boy.
Oh, man.
All right, 2 Corinthians 5:17. This is a very familiar scripture, but a powerful one to go into the weekend. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, she is a new creation. Old things have passed away, and behold, all things have become new. So that's the essence of the new birth right there. Stick around. We got some great conversation coming your way. Be careful. It's hot, dry out there. And make sure your pets have some cool water somewhere.
Your property demands equipment with more reliability, durability, and versatility built in. Kubota equipment is ready to get the job done right.
Live the adventure with Hellgate Jet Boat Excursions. Discover your wild side in the heart of the Pacific Northwest with Hellgate's high-speed spins, stunning rogue river scenery, and incredible wildlife sightings. It's an experience like no other. Plus, you can enjoy brunch or dinner on the open-air deck of the exclusive Hellgate River Lodge, a place where families connect, friends unite, and the river brings it all to life. Visit Hellgate.com to book your adventure. Hellgate Jet Boat Excursions, where adventure runs wild.
Grange Co-op, where big ideas grow.
From top home sellers in the Valley with John L. Scott
to making RV consignment effortless.
American RV, where Team Toner gets your RV sold fast.
Since 1987, Four Seasons Nursery has been the gold standard in the green industry here in Southern Oregon. Tim Elbert and his friendly staff continue to offer the best plants and most accurate knowledge to create your dream landscape. At Four Seasons Nursery on Crater Lake Avenue, you can let your imagination run wild with a huge selection of all things plant and gardening for both inside and outside beautification. Whether it's a flower for your window seal, one of our beautifully renowned signature hanging baskets, or a complete landscape design for your entire property, Four Seasons Nursery can help you every step of the way with design services, workshops, and more. Let your imagination run wild as you immerse yourself in their nursery filled with beauty that knows no bounds. Four Seasons Nursery, 5736 Crater Lake Avenue, 5736 Crater Lake Avenue, 1/2 mile north of Vilas Road, 541-779-5603, 541-779-5603.
God's eternal power and divine nature are seen in creation. But in a world blinded by darkness, the life outdoors is here to pull back the veil. The mountains don't lie. Truth leads to Jesus. Wake the wild within.
The Dove TV, encouraging, informative, and your home for Wretched TV weeknights at 9 p.m.
Welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson, and always an opportunity that we seize when we have it, and that is to talk to somebody right smack in the middle of what's going on, better known as the Beltway. And our good friend Jim Dorn is back with us today. He's a seasoned and well-experienced Republican strategist, and he's right in the heart of the nose. So we value the time that he gives us, and we want to find out some more information from him. Brother Jim, good to see you, friend. How are you, buddy?
Good to see you too, Perry. Boy, there are days I wish I wasn't here, that's for sure.
Are you taking in oxygen?
As much as I can.
Good. Quite a few things. As you know, the big, beautiful bill has passed. Didn't pass by much, but it did get through. Do you think there'll be any Republican fallout from this?
Well, there already has been. And good to see you, by the way.
Yeah.
So Senator Tillis, who had done some research on the Medicaid impact on North Carolina, had found out or figured out that 660,000 folks in his state were going to be affected by the Medicaid provisions in this bill. He went to the president, talked to him about it. At that point, it must have been too late because Trump was not hearing anything of it, and said, vote for it or else. I'm going to run somebody against you in the primary. Well, that's not the first time that Senator Tillis and the president had an altercation like that. And he decided, you know what, I'm not going to deal with this anymore. I'm going to vote against the bill and I'm going to leave Congress. And so that's one. And then on the House side, there's a gentleman named Don Bacon who represents one of the most confusing congressional districts in the country. It's Omaha, Nebraska. And Nebraska doles out their electoral votes individually. They don't do winner take all like the rest of the states. They do by congressional district. And Bacon, who has had his disagreements with the president as well, decided after he voted for the bill, I believe, but he decided he wasn't going to, didn't want to serve anymore in Congress, so he left as well. So already we've lost two Republicans who were in very small majorities to begin with. And there may be more coming from that, especially if the Medicaid bad news, as these guys have said is happening, continues to happen and has that kind of effect on the voters, especially in Trump's districts, by the way.
So how big of a deal is this?
Well, it's a big deal if believe it or not, most of the folks on Medicaid are Trump voters. They're in red states. I want to say they're poor, but they're, dependent on the government for more than, say, folks in New York City. And so the impact is timed in the bill in such a way that it may or may not have an effect on the midterms in 2026, but that it definitely will by the next presidential election in 2028. So there could be major repercussions for both the political parties, Republican and Democrats, if it has this kind of impact.
Okay, a couple of things here. What happened between Elon Musk and President Trump?
Boy, that's a great question and a subject of a lot of speculation here in D.C. The bottom line is it's probably a couple of rich guys with big egos and just kind of disagreed on a few things.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that Musk has hooked up with Andrew Yang, who ran for president. Probably not a lot of people remember this. He ran for the presidency in the Democratic primary and was out, within a couple of months. But he's loaded, and he's been involved in the New York City mayor election. He thought about running for New York City mayor, as a matter of fact. But he and Musk are talking about a third party now, which is usually the talk of rich guys that lose in the primaries of the major parties. But having said that, that's a lot of money between the two of them. And so maybe this is successful, but building a party from the top down is not the way history has taught us political parties work. It comes from the bottom up.
So, Jim,
I'm sorry.
Really, they got to be. They need to. I'm sure they understand this, that they can't do this and come out with what they're looking for. I mean, do they really think there's that many dissatisfied people with both parties that a third party now could actually be successful?
Well, the numbers show that it will, but the numbers always show that it will. And so when you're, as I said before, when you're a rich guy with that much money, you think you can do anything with it. So, yeah, I'm sure they do think that, to be honest with you.
As you know, we're coming down to the wire on these trade deals and tariffs with various countries. What's the buzz in Washington about that?
So August 1 is Trump's deadline date. There's been some movement, although I wouldn't say in a particularly good way. He's slamming Canada with 35%, announced either late last night or early this morning.
Right.
And they're not going to be happy at all. In fact, the government of Toronto was actually, or whichever province that is, was actually pulling Kentucky bourbon off its shelves during the problem with Trump. And so there's a lot of Americans aren't happy about it either. I think that as it gets closer, he'll extend the deadline and make it work. He's got to, as a matter of fact. I mean, we need trade. I mean, it's just the way of the world. And I don't think it's going to turn out 100% the way he wants to. I mean, tariffs are a bad idea. They're taxes on the American consumer. They're not putting money in our coffers. They are costing consumers money. And I think that those inflation numbers go up in a year or so, that Trump will pull way back on this.
Certainly, we understand his MO now. I mean, he'll say a hard line and then he moves it.
Right. That's spot on.
I mean, I haven't seen him keep a hard line yet, so you kind of wonder what's the end goal here.
Well, you know, it's funny. Nobody has, Perry. The Freedom Caucus, who's supposed to be the be-all and end-all to right-wing politics, they cave every single time Trump tells them to. So when they say we're not voting for this big, beautiful bill, you know what? Every single one of them wound up supporting it. So, you know, it's a game. It gets tiring after a while, but I mean, it's all about legacy for Trump and Congress standing up for themselves. And it's going to go back and forth until they find some fine line that either side will cross, and they'll say, okay, we agree.
So, Jim, I know you've been very successful and experienced on the Republican side. What's happening to the Democratic side? It looks like they completely have fallen apart. I mean, who's on the bench? Anybody?
No. I don't think anybody's on the bench on either side, although the Republicans argue Vance would be, and I can see that argument. But right now, I think that both sides are looking for a Trump-like person who will capture the imagination of the voters. Right now, neither side has that. The problem with the Democrats, or a problem that the Republicans have had in the past, is they've gone too extreme to their left. They have to be ideologically sound, if you will, on things like transgender issue, which is a loser. I mean, that killed Harris. And the Republicans got to make sure that they stay where they are. I mean, we're basically a conservative country, not hard conservative, but 50% conservative. And so stay where they are with lower taxes, less government, and it's going to be fine, and make sure everybody's treated well. And the Democrats aren't getting why they're losing right now, and it's because of things they are far left on, and they're having an internal argument, which is being shown to us every day by the leadership battles they're having for the chairman of the DNC, and you got Rahm Emanuel, who is seems ancient, but he's still pertinent on that side of the aisle, and they've got to figure it out, because right now they're nowhere near it, and they're going to continue to lose elections as long as they stay that far out left.
Okay, one other question on the left: how significant is this mayoral candidate that won the Democratic nomination in New York? I mean, can they really embrace this guy, or are they going to?
That's a great question. I'm glad you asked it, because I wanted to talk about it. It's funny. I talked to a girlfriend of mine up in New York City who's as hardcore Republican as I know, and I said, what do you think? And she said, I love it. They're not going to extend rent control, or they're going to keep rent control where it is, and we're going to get free buses and whatever else he promised, free metro. I want that, and I think that you're going to find that the big issue going into 2026 and 2028 is affordability, because right now I think voters are feeling like they can't afford a lot, that prices are high. And so can they embrace a guy who has been a complete anti-Semite and has taken some, government-run grocery stores? I can imagine the first commercial is going to be a shot of Russia in the 80s of the grocery stores with empty shelves and say, is this what you're voting for? Yeah. The problem is the only other choice, Eric Adams, who's the governor now, the mayor now, or Cuomo, who is been accused of, making advances in women, which is, so the choices aren't good out there right now. But I think the guy ran a great campaign. I got to admire. Totally grassroots, door to door, did digital and all the things you need to do to contact the voters. It was pretty brilliant. So I wouldn't be surprised if he won. Let's put it that way.
Does the president get involved on this one?
Oh, I think he already has, and I think he's going to, and I think he's going to make threats. The problem is that he is totally disliked in New York City, and his numbers would be much worse than a communist Muslim, if you will, for lack of a better term. So I think it would behoove Trump to stay out of that, and actually Republicans, period. It's an 80% Democratic district. You've got to approach it from a different angle, and maybe Adams and Curtis Sliwa, who's the Republican nominee, and Cuomo come to some kind of agreement, and only one of them run against this guy instead of all three, which will split the vote.
Okay, one other quick question. What's happening in Texas now with the U.S. Senate race there, and Paxton? He's going after the sitting senator, and then all of a sudden his wife divorces him. What's going to happen with it? And does President Trump get involved here?
Well, Paxton is a Trump guy, but I would hope that Trump wouldn't get involved, because Paxton's wife is saying that Paxton cheated on her, and that was the biblical reason that she used for filing for divorce. I would think that an equally biblical reason would be taking bribes, which Paxton was also accused of. And I'm not sure if that's gone to court quite yet. And Cornyn's been a good senator, and all transparency out there, my ex-wife worked for Cornyn, and I find him to be a very, very good guy and a very hardcore conservative. You're not getting less of a Republican with John Cornyn than you are with Paxton. I think Paxton just wants to elevate himself and maybe run for higher office than that at some point. So it would not be good for Paxton to become the Republican nominee, because all the stuff that's connected with him right now, the same thing the Republicans are using with the mayoral candidate in New York about how extremist positions are. Yeah. The Democrats will turn around and use that if Paxton is our nominee, because he's accused of all these other things.
Is he in trouble?
Well, there are some polls showing Cornyn behind. It's early. We're looking at a year and a half away, and Cornyn's going to have a gazillion dollars because he's very popular with the business community here in town. So I think it'll be a tough election, but I think Cornyn can probably win.
All right, one other quick question. The president got the okay from the Supreme Court to go ahead and cut the size of government. Is everybody running around packing their boxes? What's going on?
There's a lot of that. Real estate market is a little insane right now. I've talked to some of my friends who are agents, and they're like, well, a lot of places coming open soon.
Yeah.
I think that, Trump supporters like this, obviously, and because they want less government, and everyone has a bad view of government workers. They're not as bad as all that, but nonetheless, there is a lot of fraud and abuse downtown. But I also think that, in places like Virginia, which is going to matter, it's a swing state, and it won't matter for the presidential in 2028, but it'll matter in 2025 when the governor campaign is up, and they always look at that race as a barometer for the midterms. If I were a Democrat, I would hold up the Project 2025, where it says all these government workers are going to be fired, and waving around in Fairfax County and Loudoun County and Prince William County, where all those government workers live. And so there goes Virginia, and it's, 14 electoral votes or congressional districts with that. I mean, so you've got to be careful. I mean, it may be good on one end, but it may not be so good on the other end electorally.
Yeah. Hey, good to see you, bud. Thanks for your time. We value it greatly. Stay in the fight. We need you, man.
I will. I need to get out and see you guys.
Yeah, come on out. We'll take you fishing.
I'd like that a lot.
All right. See you later, pal. Okay.
See you, Barry.
Combining your home and auto insurance could save you time and money. And who doesn't like that? When you want surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life, call State Farm agent Rory Wold in Medford today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
At Kelly's Automotive Service,
being good stewards of what God has entrusted to us
is at the core of our business.
We believe what we do matters.
Every interaction, every transaction is another opportunity
to bring Christ's values into the marketplace.
If you're a technician who wants to be part of something bigger,
or just looking for a new shop to bring your vehicle,
we would love to meet you.
We're Kelly's Automotive Service,
where we service your vehicle,
but take care of you.
Finding that next great series to binge watch is fun, but your neck, shoulders, and body don't count that as me time. Hi, I'm Tamara Miller, owner of Organic Element Spa, and I invite you to put down the remote, get off the couch, and schedule yourself some real me or we time with your favorite service, like one of our many massages, couples massages, or facials. Your health, safety, and comfort are always top priority with us at Organic Element Spa. We can't wait to see you. Book your appointment today.
Pastor Robert Jeffers of the First Baptist Church in Dallas, Texas.
Not just about Christ Jesus, but that I might know him.
Helping you learn, grow, and get on the pathway to victory. Catch it 7 times every weekend on the Dove TV. Weekday mornings on the Dove, it's one of the longest running shows in broadcast history, the 700 Club. Informative with the day's top events. Encouraging with uplifting stories of faith. The 700 Club, weekdays on the Dove TV.
Welcome back. And of course, one of the stories that has popped up now is that the president is considering sending weapons to Ukraine. And this has caused really quite the controversy. I am so honored to have back with us today Major Fred Galvin. He's the United States Marine Corps retired, the author of a fascinating book called A Few Bad Men, the true story of the U.S. Marines ambushed in Afghanistan and betrayed in America. Major Galvin served over 26 years and is an enlisted Marine Corps officer. He led hundreds of combat missions in Iraq, Afghanistan, and throughout the Arabian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman. While conducting a combat mission in Afghanistan, the Major and 6 other Marines were falsely accused of war crimes, which led to the longest trial in the Marine Corps history and then led to their acquittal. There's a picture of the cover of his book, A Few Bad Men, available online. And you can go to commandoshow.com is his website. And there's the picture of that landing page. Major Galvin, good to see you again. How are you, friend?
Very good. Thank you for having me again, Perry.
You bet. Thank you for your time. So, given your background in history, what's your take about us sending weapons to Ukraine?
Actually, I think this is something that President Trump can use very strategically. Just like with the tariffs, everybody thought, no, there's no way this is going to work. All the economists said this is doom and gloom. However, we've seen his rhetoric, President Trump's rhetoric, saying, how many people are dying. And that narrative continually, the steady beat, is echoing in Europe's ears because they don't want war. I don't think they really want war that much, or they fear war, but he is trying to get Europe and NATO to the table of contributing more money. So this, I believe, is a subtle tactic that you need to step up to the table, that we're not committing boots on the ground, but we're going to give defensive weapons, because when you see the left, what do they constantly do? Even before the ground invasion that Israel did after 7 October, what did the left's narrative? It was there's a genocide. Israel hadn't even called up their reserves yet, let alone cross the line of departure, and it was all of a sudden genocide. And that's all you heard, and protests all around the world, in Australia and America and everywhere in between, genocide. So I believe this is a tactic that is going to be able to be utilized to get Europe to contribute more of their GDP to defense so that the United States doesn't have to do so much. However, I believe also diplomats can proffer and reach an agreement that, okay, here is the situation. You can both save face, Europe and Zelensky. Now, I'm more concerned about Zelensky than I am with Putin. But I believe both of them want to come out looking strong. And my real concern is Zelensky when the war is over. What that means for him and his future. So, but just like Trump, he's the negotiator. I believe he wants to have his diplomats reach an agreement to where we can end this war. That is the goal. There's too many people we've seen with our war in Afghanistan that want the war to go on forever. And you brought up the question in earlier part of the show that what does this mean? Are we depleting our weapons? And that is a very, very good question to ask, because we do have a concern if we are continuing to give all of our weapons, which we are giving some of our stockpiles, especially our shoulder fire rockets, and when we have a bigger threat that America could get involved in, especially in Northeast Asia, we cannot be giving away so many of our critical resources without having the big military industrial complex replenish those. So there is some good in being able to give away some of these weapon systems. And I'll make an odd comparison. If, say, you have a massive amount of Tesla high voltage battery packs, and they have a certain life expectancy, or they can't perform at their optimal performance in a vehicle. But if you give those away because they have a certain life expectancy, now Trump isn't doing what the Biden administration had done, and as far as giving them away in the form of a grant, as a loan, there's a return on investment. So I do believe that this has other, as far as America being tied in, just like China has around the globe, getting access to certain rare earth minerals, that is a good thing. We're not just giving money away into perpetuity that, hey, here's however much you want. Yes.
So am I hearing you say, Major, that this is not a reversal of the Trump policy, but more of a forcing of NATO to get their act together, so to speak?
I believe that's a tactic that President Trump and his State Department are viewing this, is that, hey, we are doing this on a short-term basis, and our goal is to get Europe not just to give more money, but we want Europe to put pressure because you hear this rhetoric and the language that President Trump is using. I mean, that is sinking into the computers of the leaders in Europe that, hey, we don't want a war. It doesn't mean so much to European leaders when they hear something going on in the Middle East, but when it's on mainland Europe, even though it's Eastern Europe, it's something that they have to take a little bit more seriously, because they don't want war to spread. And I don't believe they want war to spread, or Poland and countries closer to Ukraine would be contributing more, which they're not right now.
Okay, so to drill down on something you said earlier, your concern between Putin and Zelensky, I'm trying to figure out in my mind. Can you give me a brief understanding where your brain is with that?
Yes. So obviously, Putin wants to get as much ground as he can, and Putin and Zelensky doesn't want to give up anything. And it's to Zelensky's benefit that this war continues to go on, or he could be out of a job and he could be looking for a seat to sit in somewhere in the world that he's going to be safe. I think the war continues to provide him power, and that preservation of power is the main thing with any dictator, whether it's Putin or Xi Jinping or Kim Jong-un, they need this. So I do have a concern that Zelensky will never reach a concession, that he will always want to continue to fight. And that's something that I think Europe can put pressure on him to, like, hey, we're not going to continue to give weapons and we're not going to give aid. And once the Trump administration came in, you saw like a quick stop. Hey, we're not going to give aid anymore. And the United Kingdom stepped in. Hey, we'll be your best friend now. And so I think Trump's trying to make a little play on that with the European Union.
Do you think, this is kind of a way out question, but you're the military expert, Major, and that is, do you think, given the success of the highly strategic attack on Fordo in Iran, gave any kind of a second thought chill factor to, say, Putin or others of the United States military capabilities?
I definitely think now, whether it's the Ayatollah's rhetoric saying, hey, we want, or we're going to attack Trump, that actually plays to our strength. Because now it lets Trump say, oh, you're not just sending people over here, and Israel's intelligence said that these assassination attempts were with support of Iran. I'm not 100% sure on that intelligence, if that was completely accurate or not. But now when you hear the Ayatollah say, better not go sunbathing, that does give Trump the ability, like, okay, you're talking about assassinating myself, because America has not talked about regime change at all. But this kind of does open up the door if you're talking a direct threat to America's head of state. So it'll be interesting to see what Donald Trump and the Department of State and the Department of Defense's posturing and response will be. But I think it does send a statement, the bombings and the Tomahawk launches into Iran, what that means to Russia as well as to Xi Jinping, when there's conversations that were caught with President Trump saying he'd bomb the hell out of Russia and China. It's just like with Reagan. I think that strength through power, and people fear, this guy could actually do something like that. It causes people to have to recalibrate their gauges, and that's exactly what we're seeing going on. It's a good tactic that we're going back to Ukraine. It's a good tactic. We're not putting boots on the ground, and this is going to be something that allows us to replenish our strategic weapons arsenals, and that does send a signal also into Northeast Asia, where Xi Jinping realizes, okay, now Donald Trump is talking about a bloody war where there's so many people killed. That doesn't bode well if Xi Jinping should push across the Straits of Taiwan. And obviously, if he decided to invade Taiwan, there's going to be massive amounts of civilian deaths, and that will not go well. So again, using diplomacy to get Europe to the table, because if we're fighting in Northeast Asia, which is the true global economic stress, we cannot afford to have the world's commodities taken over by China. And they really do. They're the kingpins. They hold everything. So we cannot just only rely on South Korea, Australia, and Japan. We do need the European Union if we were to deter aggression, or if we went to crisis in Northeast Asia, we need to have that be a global response. And this is something that, we're using strength, precision, but we're also using diplomacy. And I think that's when he uses a language that he doesn't want to see millions, there's been countless people destroyed, young people. He's also talking about globally. And that is a narrative that rings in the ears of the leaders in Europe.
All right, I am out of time, but there does seems to be an unclear impossibility at the moment. Doesn't seem to be a solution between Israel and Hamas, and there doesn't seem to be a solution between Ukraine and Russia. They're not. I don't see anybody budging. And a ceasefire is a nice thing, but a ceasefire just becomes an opportunity to reload.
You're correct, and especially in the case of Israel and Hamas. And I think the only solution really is going to be if Israel continues to eliminate and eradicate the terrorists, and that's what they did. I applaud the courage, because just like after 9/11, we went into Afghanistan, and I just hope that the continued targeting of terrorists in Gaza is something that can lead to a complete eradication of that terrorist threat, because that's probably going to be the only solution that is in Gaza. Ukraine is a different story.
All right, I got to cut you short. I'm sorry, I only had you for one segment. We'll get you back. Let me say to our viewers and listeners a couple things. Check out the Major's book, A Few Bad Men, The True Story of the U.S. Marines Ambushed in Afghanistan and Betrayed in America. This is an amazing story. Ended up resulting in the longest trial in the Marine Corps history, and yet it led to their acquittal. He does have a website, commandoshow.com, and there's a picture of that landing page as well. Major, thank you for your time. We value it greatly. God bless you, friend. Let's stay connected.
Thank you, and God bless you, Perry.
The Sherms Market Jackson County Fair is back and bigger than ever. Rock out July 17th with legendary band Kansas, playing all the classics, Carry On Wayward Son, Dust in the Wind, and more, presented by People's Bank. Then on July 18th, it's Skillet Live. Hear hits like Awake and Comatose from the multi-platinum, Grammy-nominated hard rock band. The Jackson County Fair is the place to be this summer. Fun for the whole herd. Get your tickets now at theexpo.com.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian owned and operated, pet friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site 24/7 in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare where your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living, your home.
At Hellgate Jetboat Excursions, we salute you. Military Mondays are here. Active duty military guard, reserve, and retired military members get 50% off their ticket price every Monday of the season. It's our way of saying thank you for your service. But heads up, this offer is only valid on Mondays. 1 discount per reservation and can't be booked online. Call to book your adventure today. Hellgate Jetboat Excursions, where adventure runs wild and we honor our heroes. Some restrictions apply. Visit hellgate.com for details.
Okay, welcome back, and it's just been way too long since we've had back with us our good friend Brad Dacus. He's the president of the Pacific Justice Institute, and you can go to pacificjustice.org or jc.org, and there it is, a picture of the landing page. Brad and his team, they're the advocates for life, for family, for America, for parents, for students. They are just outstanding at what they do. So I encourage you to check them out, pacificjustice.org. There he is, Brother Brad. How are you, buddy?
Oh, doing great, Perry.
Too long. Too long. Are you trapped in a revolving door? Do I need to throw you a sandwich?
No, but no, we're busy, very busy. But it's always a pleasure to be on your program. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Well, thank you, and we're honored to carry your program as well on the network. All right, some big wins. The Supreme Court ruled that public schools must notify parents about LGBTQ themed lessons. This is a big deal. Where do you think it goes?
Yeah, this is a huge ruling. It's going to have a huge impact on the public schools all throughout the United States. In that, in the past, they were saying, well, especially blue states saying, well, you can't opt out of this. You can't opt out of that. Maybe the birds and the bees, but you can't opt out of anything LGBTQ and that's what they've been doing. And they've been doing things secretly and secretly grooming kids even. Well, this says no more. Parents have a fundamental right over their children's education, upbringing. And so if you've got something like this, you got to give notice to parents. And this is real important. You have to be willing to opt out children from anything that parents say violates their religious beliefs, their moral convictions. This is really fundamental because the other side would say, well, no, it's in our word problems, our mathematics, it's in our history, LGBTs and all in this and that. And so it's just too cumbersome, too burdensome. And basically the court said, no, that means your problem is you're trying to argue that because you are so immensely violating the rights of parents that you have to violate the rights of parents. And the court says, no, you have to respect the rights of parents. If that means you alter the math word problems to not have Bob and his boyfriend Steve in the word problem or other issues so that it's neutral and doesn't offend parents, then that's what you need to do. So this is a huge game changer. We at Pacific Justice Institute, in fact, we're in the process of updating our customized opt-out forms for each of the states across the country. It's going to be much broader, have much more authority to it, and it's going to be very effective. And if schools don't respect these opt-out forms, then we're ready to sue through our 36 offices coast to coast all across the country.
Okay, part of the argument is the opponent says that it marginalizes LGBTQ students. What's your response to that?
I think that's really a red herring because it doesn't marginalize. There's nothing. The court didn't say they have to have negative things, against LGBTQ lifestyles or manners or behaviors or identities. No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about simply schools being sensitive to the wide diversity of parents out there and students. And if you're going to cover this material, then you better allow parents to opt out of all of it because it's a direct infringement on the rights of parents. A smart school, if they have any smart schools out there, public schools out there, will say, you know what, let's take out all the LGBTQ propaganda, indoctrination. Let's be respectful of all the parents. This is a controversial issue, and let's do that. It's like if they were pushing, say, one political party, and they had political symbols for that political party all over the school district, and they said, well, gee, if we remove that, those students of that political party are going to be marginalized. No, just making it neutral, making it without the propaganda, so that everyone from every political party would feel comfortable. It's the same principle here when it comes to controversial, very highly morally controversial and indoctrination programs dealing with LGBTQ and the like.
Is this enforceable? What happens if a school doesn't provide this? Is there a consequence to this?
Oh, yeah, there's a big consequence because when they violate this, they violate the fundamental rights of parents as respected by the Supreme Court of the United States, as implicit within the meaning of the Constitution. So when they do that, then we at Pacific Justice Institute can move right on in and file a full-fledged federal lawsuit against that school district, hitting them up for damages and really making it so that they'll never want to do it again. I can assure you we're preparing to play hardball against every one of these school districts all across the country. And fortunately for us, we've got we've got the bandwidth with all the offices we have all across the country to do just that.
I don't expect the LGBTQ plus community to take this lightly, or even liberal school districts or states like California, New York. I would imagine there's going to be a pushback, or is this the final say-so?
Practically speaking, this is pretty much the final say-so. All we have to do now is simply educate parents and mobilize them to download opt-out forms, to file those opt-out forms, and then contact us when the opt-out forms are either not respected or not accepted by the school district. that's all we need. And we'll be hitting one school district after another. And once they start watching each other fall by the wayside, I'm sure they'll learn very quickly that they need to respect the rights of parents.
So, Brad, you and your team, you guys have been up to your eyeballs in this for a long time. So there's a shift. I mean, there's a shift happening here to the better. I mean, for the Supreme Court to say, yep, parents have the right to have their children opt out, more and more pressure is being put on males competing in female sports, the Title IX, which you can talk about. But there seems to be a healthy shift. What does that tell you?
It tells me that it's a shift, but it's I think the beginning of a whole new momentum in the right direction in terms of parental rights, religious freedom, the sanctity of human life. It's intensive, but we've got the Supreme Court finally stepping up, respecting the constitutional rights of individuals when it comes to these areas. And all we need now is, of course, Pacific Justice Institute and others that choose to get involved to step up and make sure it's enforced and make sure it's respected by going into court. And we pick up all the costs and all the expenses. We have 280 cases in active litigation. I would not be surprised to see that number grow significantly because of the new opportunities we have to really bring public schools accountable to parents the way they were originally.
You've been directly involved in supporting a briefs supporting the ban of biological men competing in girls' sports. Can you walk us through the case there?
Yeah, it's a basic fundamental question of do states have the ability, like West Virginia and others, blue states have the ability to pass laws that protect girls in girls' sports. The federal law, the Title IX, was passed specifically to do just that. To say, girls, you don't have to join the boys' basketball team because we know you're not going to probably ever make the boys' basketball team, with a few exceptions. No, we're going to entitle you to have your own girls' basketball team. That's what Title IX was all about. So girls compete against girls. So these states are simply saying, we want Title IX respected. We don't want to allow girls not to have the same equal opportunity for competition that boys do by preventing boys from going into girls' sports. So I think this is a very solid case. I'm very optimistic on the final outcome. This is dealing with the state's rights to protect girls. The issue is going to be heard even broader in another case down the road, potentially. They could address the whole issue saying, can you have boys competing in girls' sports under Title IX, period? If they don't, then that's going to come back. They may just limit it to the state's rights. I think there's a good chance they're going to address Title IX rights of females, period. And if that happens, it's not just going to apply to West Virginia and red states. It's going to apply to all 50 states across the country, protecting girls' sports against biological males coming in and robbing them of their equal opportunity that they're entitled to under Title IX.
Do you think the Title IX argument, like you're involved, you think it'll ever totally impact the NCAA?
That's interesting. I think that I think in the end it will, because the fact that you're talking about universities and colleges, right, competing. President Trump has already thrown down the hatchet at University of Pennsylvania, and they've quickly backed off. They were going to lose federal funding. Trump's made that really clear. University of Pennsylvania or Penn U, they went and apologized, and yes, we're going to do things right, and just a complete 180. And everyone knows why. It's because they were going to lose funding the same way Harvard and others are. So I think that's going to come around, and I think all of these college sports athletic competitions are going to go back to where they should be, which is keeping girls in girls sports and boys in boys sports.
Yeah, good stuff. Let me take a quick break. Let me say to our viewers and listeners, you can go to pji.org, Pacific Justice Institute. There's a picture of the landing page. I tell you, Brad went from a one-man band to a nationwide organization. Why? Because the demand is there, and they are frontline warriors for you. So check it out and support them. pji.org. We'll be right back.
The Dove has an unexpected expense. Our video switcher must be replaced. It's an important device and will cost $47,500. Will you prayerfully consider helping with this expense? Thank you for partnering with The Dove.
From top home sellers in the Valley with John L. Scott.
To making RV consignment effortless.
American RV, where Team Toner gets your RV sold fast.
Spring is around the corner and summer is on its way. With fire danger biting at its heels, flammable blackberries and underbrush will grow like gangbusters and sprout fire danger in no time. A wise property owner knows the best time to take care of fire danger is to extinguish it before it gets started. GMV Forestry LLC can help you protect your property with adequate firebrush clearing to fireproof a zone around your precious property. With over 35 years experience, GMV Forestry LLC has the knowledge, experience, and all the equipment you need to get the job done right, offering a wide variety of services like mulching, field mowing, snow removal, driveway clearing, ditch cleaning, gravel delivery and spreading, driveway sweeping, logging, and more. GMV Forestry LLC does it all, and they do it right. GMV Forestry LLC, the team you can trust. 541-660-6445. 541-660-6445.
I'm supposed to be okay. I went to war. I fought. I'm home. I'm a man. I'm tough. I'm strong. I'm good. I'm going to bootstrap it, and I'm going to push my way through this pain. I got on my knees. For the first time, I fully admitted all of the things I had done. I just laid it all down. When I left that room, I knew something was different.
Friday on the 700 Club, right here on the Dove TV.
Okay, welcome back, and always a delight to have with us our good friend Brad Dacus. Brad is president of the Pacific Justice Institute. PJI.org is the website. He and his team are all over the country fighting for you, and a lot of their work is pro bono. And to them, this is a calling, not a job. And so go to their website and support them, PJI.org. Brad, as you know, the Supreme Court finally weighed in on some of these crazy lower courts' injunctions against the president and said, you guys can't do this. I guess that still has to be codified through Congress as to what the jurisdictions are of the lower courts. But at the end of the day, lower courts are still doing it.
Yeah.
And so doesn't seem to be any meat behind the ruling. What's going on?
Yeah, one of the problems, and Justice Alito talked about this, with the decision by the Supreme Court, was that it allowed a loophole, and it was basically a class action loopholes, which where the court says, well, you know, individual federal district court, you know, you can rule on behalf of your plaintiffs that you have before you, and it can be binding your decision on your federal district, but not the whole government, not the President of the United States, the executive branch, and et cetera, unless it's dealing with a class action. Now, if you want to have a decision that's on behalf of an entire class, like a class action kind of a case, well, then that's the exception, because you're dealing with everyone, and it can be beyond your district. Well, that's the loophole. And Alito said, wait a minute, with this loophole, they can still be judicial activists. They can still, paralyze the country by claiming that there's members of this class and all throughout the country, whether it's illegal aliens or whatever group they're talking about. And so that's part of the problem. It's a big problem. And I think the Supreme Court is going to need to come back around and narrow what they mean by class action lawsuits and how broad they're really willing to make it. So we've got some problems here. The decision allowed too big of a loophole. I think that's now very apparent. I think the Supreme Court's going to have to take this up on another decision that will be coming up to their court with one of these activist judge decisions being appealed.
All right, so given the ambiguity of this, doesn't this kind of also force Congress to get involved in describing the actual district of a district court?
Yeah, and Congress has the power to do that, and they may go ahead and weigh in on this. The fact the Supreme Court in their decision recently didn't really nail it down with the clarity necessary to prevent this from continuing. We may have to have that at the end of the day. But the good news is I think we have a Congress that has the understanding of the importance of it and the capacity, and that I think there's a good chance they may have the votes too. So that's the other avenue. The other one is the Chief Justice and on another case, and the other members of the Supreme Court clarifying this, narrowing it even further. That may happen well before Congress acts on the matter.
Okay. I want to come back to education. I know that's a big concern for you and your organization, and we're seeing some adjustments made in education. And one of the things that's been talked about, administration through administration, is the unnecessary need of the Department of Education. The president did get a green light to continue to downsize government. Do you think the Department of Education is heading for closure?
Yeah, I do. It was created by President Jimmy Carter, and it was sort of spoken into existence so he can, claim he created another part of bureaucracy at the time. But it really is not necessary. Public education in the past has been something that has been governed by the states, and it's really worked very well because the states have been, they effectively compete against each other. As states are excelling with their policies, other states aren't, and they're learning from each other, ideally learning from each other. I don't think California is learning much from the rest of the country, but that's another topic. But that's something we've benefited from. So we don't need it on a federal level. Even in the Pell Grant process or the student loan process, I think this administration also wants that to shift, especially the student loan process, to shift more to the private sector to get government, their hands out of it. One of the problems we have, Department of Education, the student loan program is, it doesn't matter what your major is. It could be, a finger painting bachelor's degree, and they'll let you take out your $200,000 in student loans, knowing that there's no way you could ever pay off the student loans with that kind of a major. The free market would look at what is your major. What is the projected income? How much of a loan could you take and viably be able to pay it off? So I think that bringing the free market back into the equation will actually help students in the end make wise decisions in terms of both their major as well as their level of debt.
The reason I want to stick with education for a moment, given the changes, again, the Supreme Court saying that parents can have their children opt out from the curriculum promoting LGBTQ. You got Title IX, and then the possibility of the Department of Ed being dissolved, going back to the states. There's a significant thing here, and that is this ends up being a wide open door for parents getting involved at school boards level. I mean, this is where it belongs. I'm just wondering if we see this opportunity coming, or.
Yeah, well, we definitely do, and there's another big elephant that's been discovered in the big beautiful bill, and that is school tax credits, if you will, for private education. Very similar to Arizona, but it's going to be nationwide. And people can say, do you want $1,700 of your taxes to act as a tax credit that will be then appropriated to a nonprofit scholarship fund to fund children's ability to go into alternative schools like private schools? It's huge. It wasn't talked about at the time they were debating it. But now it's very apparent, the language. It is a huge game changer. We're going to see people all across the United States checking that box. Yes, I want my $1,700 of my taxes to go towards that instead of the general treasury. It's going to empower foundations and scholarship funds to allow children in the inner cities, children all across the country, to have that opportunity for parents to choose alternatives to government public schools, which to me have become spiritual death camps. So this is incredible. And this combined with the rights of parents to opt their kids out and to receive notices from public schools, It's an exciting time, and we at PJI are working on something at a federal level. I can't get into the details, but are going to apply to both public education and something else, applying to firming up parents' rights even more. So it's an exciting time, and we need to take full advantage of the opportunity.
So is there a cap on that? You used the number 17. Is that the cap?
That's my understanding. What the cap is, 1,700, which is very significant when you talk about everyone's, half of Americans, check that box. That's an enormous sum of money that would be able to fund just about, I think, every child who wants to go to a private school instead of government schools. It's going to be a huge game changer, bringing free market competition back to where it needs to be. And those public schools that survive will only survive because they change what they do to be competitive and attractive for parents not to choose private schools instead.
So the bill is signed, so it's in effect now. They could use this upcoming fall for registration?
I'm not sure if it's going to kick in this fall or the next fall because the foundations need to be set up. The tax revenue, people from their taxes, have already paid their taxes, presumably. So it's probably going to be for the following school year. But it's going to be very dramatic, and it hasn't received much news coverage. But it's going to be an exciting opportunity. I think we're going to see inner city private schools start up all over the place throughout the United States in particular, which is desperately needed to save children who are the most deprived of a quality education, which are those in public schools in the inner cities.
Wow. Anything else in the bill that you discovered? I know I look at it from deregulation, running a business and a ministry. I'm constantly looking for deregulation. What else did you see that was a good surprise to you?
Yeah, what was interesting is the ability for people to write the interest off their loan when they buy a new car. They can write the interest just like the interest on a mortgage. And at first blush, I'm like, well, cars depreciate. But it's contingent on them buying a car that's made in America. And that is going to be a huge boost to jobs throughout the United States, the U.S. auto industry. Other countries are going to be building their plants in the United States. It's economically, I think it'll have an incredible impact on our creating jobs, nice paying jobs for Americans in blue collar areas across the country. I thought that was a very interesting thing. And I'm also excited outside of that to see the tariffs that are going down. That's going to have a huge increase in revenue, which I think is going to, in the end, really help pay down the deficit and the deficit spending.
Brad, good to see you, friend. It's been too long. You're looking good. Let's stay connected. Let me say to our viewers and listeners, go to pji.org. That's his website. He and his team are there for you. And like I said, yes, this is a calling, not a job. It's a calling to be there to represent you and justice for you. So check it out, pji.org. Okay? Hang in there, buddy. Good to see you.
Likewise. Thank you.
All right. God bless.
Sweet Tea Express, we've got you covered. Order at the counter and our friendly service staff will do the rest. Burgers, salads, sandwiches, barbecue platters, sides, and more. Smoked, grilled, and served to perfection. Sweet Tea Express, breakfast, burgers, and barbecue.
The Lennox iComfort S30 thermostat